went to put my phone down and I accidentally hit the eject button on my PS3.
Oh.
So here is my disc of Dirge of Cerberus.
It wandered out.
It's finally over.
Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII, exactly.
Yeah, mine hasn't left my sleeve since I played it before the season.
I just hold up my whole laptop and be like, mine's in here somewhere.
So I think for, just the due diligence of the podcast, now that I have the disc in my hand, I want to mention that around the circumference of the perimeter, I am dumb as hell, so I don't know math terms.
No, you were right both times.
Around that, there are small letterings that says licensed by Sony Computer Entertainment for play on PlayStation 2 Computer Entertainment. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go through all of it. But there's a lot of text on here. It'd be cool if there was like a Kojima moment where on the actual CD itself, it had some deep lore stuff.
It had a number that you could like dial into a radio to talk to Shelk.
Unauthorized copying, reproduction, rental, public performance, or broadcast. Sorry, speedrunners.
Fuck.
I'm just emulating it like a Chad.
Guys,
so.
I think we're in trouble.
Oh, you're right. A public performance. You're not allowed to do that. No running this game on Twitch.
Wait, it really says that, doesn't it? My God. Broadcasted this game. Well,
we're going to have to cancel the plans for our Dirge of Cerberus stage play.
We're going to have to cancel our plans for next season because I think each of us individually are going to jail. We're being sent back to 2006 copyright jail. And we'll see you all in hell. Thank you so much for listening.
Speaking of which, I don't know if we should leave this in or take this out, but is this our last episode or is this two to last?
Yeah, about last, I think.
We'll see, I guess. I mean, it's the last chapter of the aforementioned Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 2 from 2006, Sony Entertainment
Never heard of it.
Computer of America.
I feel like, okay, so when I woke up today, which was about 30 minutes ago, and I was incredibly tired, and I got on this call with you all, and I couldn't say anything because my voice was blown out. I felt ill-prepared to do a podcast, but now that we have gotten a good, 30, 40 minutes in of just, screaming about the future of the universe, I am ready to tackle these demonic elements in Dirge of Cerberus.
We got our start running up that hill, and now we are fucking ready to make a deal with God.
Shaking our fist, yeah.
I'm looking at what was in theaters when this game came out.
Ooh, nice. A little calling all creeps kind of a situation.
So you just got back from your fifth watch of Clerks 2.
Who didn't?
Damn, wait. That's fucking trippy. I remember seeing Clerks 2 in theaters, and it does not seem like it was the same time that I could have gotten Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII.
Or maybe you were watching the Ant Bully or Cars, the first one.
The first Cars, eh? Wow.
This game was developed in a pre-Cars society, and I think that's beautiful. Corey is celebrating right now as he hears that. We've got to go back.
But yeah, we what did we just do? I think we just kicked
we beat up
Weiss's ass, and Weiss got
beat up Hojo Weiss. Yeah,
we got real mad at the story.
Hojo got evicted by Nero.
And also by death. By double death. This time it's real, maybe.
Reformatted or whatever.
Yeah. I think Nero and him combined, and then
Nero ran the disk defragmenter on Weiss to
Norton antivirus.
Yeah. But I think to some extent, even though we've beaten Weiss, they kind of succeeded, right? Like Omega has kind of been summoned.
Yeah, I mean,
all this pure Mako juice is all gathered, and Weiss and Nero go to join him, I guess. They've already summoned it to channel its energy somehow.
Right.
Yeah, I think Nero's ultimate plans are kind of, have reached fruition. He got his brother back, so
yeah. Nero's ultimate plan was hang out with my bro more, so he did indeed succeed in that.
They're going to finally see Clerks 2 to see what happened to Dante.
Weiss wants to see Clerks 2, but Nero wants to see Cars. But yeah, there's a brilliant flash of light inside the Mako reactor, right? And our scene kind of comes up outside, right? We're outside of Midgard. There's not There's no more like ships flying around in the air. There's no more like guns going off or anything like that. But we do see some wild shit go down outside of Midgar. Or, well, I guess in Midgar.
We see a ship crashing, but we're outside Midgar spiraling, and all the reactors are, well, reacting.
Yeah. So it looks like, I guess to me, like all of the Mako from the different reactors are being like sucked out of them in those giant pipes that we see in the original FF7 up into toward the center building, toward Shinra building.
Yeah, so I don't know if they go explicitly into detail throughout the story of this game. They may have, and I just completely missed it because I'm, again, dumb as hell. But I think the way that Mako Reactor Zero works, like in the fiction of this world, is that it is being powered by all of the surrounding ones. Like they have rerouted the power in an attempt to create Omega or revive Omega or however it is.
And boy, have they.
They sure did.
Theoretically, yeah, they have like shut down all the connections, but that still doesn't stop Omega from still using it seems.
Yeah, right. And I think that the mission that Cloud and all the, the regular homies are on right now is to destroy the reactors surrounding it to cut off power to Mako Reactor Zero.
Right. Which actually I was going to say, when I looked at the cutscene, I think only like 5 of the reactors end up powering it. So I was wondering, I was like, oh, I guess they got like 3 of them down, which it wasn't enough, but yeah, I think they did take some down.
Yeah, I see. I'm not sure how it was powered. Like, I mean, there's 6 or 7 tendrils we see, but yeah.
Oh, is there? Maybe tendrils.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's very glowy. Okay.
Can't believe Curtis would say something incorrect, factually incorrect on this podcast.
Well, now that I've said it has become correct. That is how
but this FMV rules.
It's cool as shit.
It's really good.
We see kind of these from the center of Midgar, presumably Reactor Zero. We see almost like lightning-filled tornadoes spiraling into each other, like a triple helix almost.
Yeah.
Damn.
And as these almost like, I don't know, ethereal wires or ropes come and like join it with all the reactors, just bust through the sides of them, like just ignoring that. Like, yeah, we don't need wires. We got
love it when they're busting like that.
Always be.
We got some sort of god cables.
God cables. Well, we now have our episode title, so
it sounds like an X-Men alternate comic in the 90s. Like, now Cable is a god.
But the triple helix, we see above it is a cloud, and suddenly, in a big burst of energy, it apparates into Omega. Omega's risen, and it's a fucking cool kaiju with, the 3 spirally kind of tentacle legs.
Omega is an Evangelion. I don't know what the robots are called, so I call them Evangelions.
Oh yeah, the Ava units?
There you go. They're a big weapon.
The colors are cool. It's very, has 2 giant, like, almost Samus Aran shoulders, but with...
pauldrons, you might say?
Perhaps a pauldron or 2.
Pauldrons that it got from Paul Jerome's Paulderdome.
Oh boy. And it has 4 wings.
Yeah, it's pretty badass looking. I mean, it's very much a weapon. It's very stylized like the weapons from FF7.
Yeah.
Where it has the very mech.
Yeah.
The mech kaiju looking head.
Yeah.
Much like we've seen before.
Which, you know what? Now that I see this guy, I have to agree with Hojo. We should ride this shit through the stars.
That would be comfy as hell. Sounds real pleasant.
I wasn't into it when I thought that we would just be like a laser beam of light energy flying through the stars. That's lame. Yeah. But a giant mech dragon? All right, I'm behind it now. I'm with you.
I wish we were back in 2006 when Adobe Flash was still a thing and when I still had any kind of drive to do anything so that I could try and make a Flash game where you're just on Omega flying through the stars and have to like avoid comets or something. Like,
you can make Flappy Bird in Studio.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
But it's just Omega.
iOS.
With the DuckTales moon level music playing.
Good. But yeah, notably, we were still in the reactor when Omega was formed. So
R.I.P. Yuffie, I guess.
Yeah, fuck Yuffie. But we get kind of like a shot inside of Omega's body, and then Vincent's in there. He's like screaming in pain and shit. He's like, ah.
He's gone full sicko chaos mode.
Oh, he is in chaos mode, yep. And he, importantly, he like breaks free of Omega and flies upward and explodes Omega's head as he like flies out of it. So like we just saw Omega and now it's already been like decapitated and exploded.
Yeah,
it's cool. Like, it shatters like glass, but then it retracts back into like a solid shape again.
It reforms. Yeah,
he's looking extremely Mobius while he's doing it too.
I don't.
Everyone's favorite film.
I know what that is, but I don't.
Mobius.
You know about it? Is it Mobius or Morbius?
Morbius.
Well, listen.
I think what Carl meant. Hold on. Let me make sure of this real quick.
Looks like Jared Legos.
Jared Legos, my favorite Morpheus.
I think what Carl was referring to was Mobius Final Fantasy, the episodic role-playing game developed for iOS, Android, and PC.
Perhaps a quick little foreshadowing to next season.
Yeah. Oh my God! Should we do a quick curveball and just change our plans and do Final Fantasy Mobius?
But
he explodes he blows his mind and escapes, but he's still like freaking out. Like Vincent is clearly not in control, right?
Yeah, maybe you know.
Yeah, I think
he just be floating in the air screaming. So like I don't know.
I mean,
maybe he's in
control. It looks not good.
After all the shit that Vincent had to go through, I'd probably want to do the same thing if I had an outlet to do so.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It probably stings.
But so he's flipping out, and we see Shulk, who's still in deep ground, right? Like she's still in the location that we left her in.
Omega has awoken, and chaos has been drawn out of the shadows to serve as a counterbalance, or so it would seem.
However,
they draw a lot of conclusions.
I was gonna say, I was like, okay, so Chaos has popped out multiple times during this game, not as a fucking counterbalance to Omega. I think you might be reading into that a little bit.
Like with Hojo, with the whole like tainted life stream pure one. I was like, that's a lot to extrapolate.
I mean,
yeah, it is.
I guess with Shulk, if anyone's going to extrapolate, it's her, because she like, you know, has a USB sticking out of her brain that just has all of like Lucrezia's and Vincent's memories, and like, you know, she's seen some shit, so she probably knows. I trust her. I think she's the expert on this one.
Well, she becomes tired of the situation and decides to play some VR games.
God bless her heart.
I love this fucking steampunk ass like solution. She always just like, this doesn't look like a VR headset at all. It looks like she goes over this machine that's just like has gears and shit. It looks like has like a jet engine above her head.
It's like
get sucked into the turbine like fucking Sherry Bobbins.
Like this gross, moldy looking chair, like from Half-Life 2.
It's steampunk VR. It's like doesn't have any like chips in it. It's just gears and like whistles and stuff.
God, your fucking hair gets caught in it and just like rips out of your head. Ugh.
You go in the salon and just like putting those hair dryers over my head.
But then she says like,
I'm doing a neural net dive.
How many ladies in 2006 were going to the hair salon, putting the thing on, and pretending like they were doing neural net dives? It could be anywhere from 1 to 1.5 million, which is how many copies this game has sold worldwide.
We're calling it Shulk Fever. It's middle-aged women across America flood to their local salons.
Sounds kind of nice, actually.
Yeah. You come out and your hair looks real nice.
Yeah, looking like Shulk.
Yeah, so she
Shulk
says
with rollers in her hair.
So I hate I think it's kind of dumb, but the game does set this up though. So I was like, all right, game, I'll give this one to you, because she does say earlier in the game that like, oh yeah, I can dive into people's consciousness because consciousness is a network.
I mean, the consciousness is in her, so it's just like, I guess it goes both ways.
Well, at the time I was very like eye rolly, and like I guess I still am, but she does say here, she's like, oh, well, all the souls that are inside of Omega, they're also a virtual network or whatever, so I can dive into them. And I was like, well, all right, sure, why not? But it does make me...
If I could physically dive into a network, I would stay far the fuck away from it.
It does make me wonder, though, about the nature of the synaptic net dive with the scene that's getting ready to play out, right? So she says... in theory, the souls that exist inside Omega should act as a type of virtual network. It wouldn't be impossible. Maybe I could. And then she puts on the helmet. Vincent, be grateful that I not only uploaded Lucretia's thoughts, but her wishes and dreams as well. uplink successful, commencing synaptic neural net dive.
Not only did I download her thoughts, but I stuffed my pocket filled with her dreams.
You wouldn't download a Lucrezia. But yeah, so she like appears in the sky, and here's the question I have, right? Is that like I have assumed that when she does her synaptic neural net dive, she's just like a digital representation of herself.
She just Neo jacking into the Matrix.
Yeah, but apparently she's like actually a physical thing too, somehow, who can like affect the world around her.
I mean, Hojo did it.
I mean, maybe it's Matrix rules. If you die in the video game, you die in real life. Just like,
but it's both real life.
You did miss a very important line that she says, Curtis, if you could read it. She says, uplink successful, and then what does she say after that?
Okay, she didn't say commencing synaptic neural dive. She said SND.
SND's nuts! Oh, got him, dude! He fucking walked right into it.
Well, I'll leave now.
Thanks, everyone.
I've never been so owned. But yeah, so she like appears in front of Omega and like dives into Omega to do something.
To
help Vincent.
To whatever. But luckily she does find something there. There is a woman whose face is obscured. I think it's Lucrezia. But like her face is obscured and she's like in like white robes. She finds this like floating vision of this woman inside of Omega who is holding the proto-materia?
Yes,
Probably,
I believe it's supposed to be like the one that Chaos uses, or not Chaos, Omega. Jesus Christ, I can't keep this shit straight. Yeah, I think it's like there's another proto-materia, like
actually,
Chaos.
so
go ahead.
I extrapolated this last week. I probably cut it out, but so tracking the proto-materia, Vincent had it like taken out of him by Rosso, and I think up until we see Weiss actually has it. And we see it drop from him when he goes into... We actually get a quick glimpse. We thought it was holy.
Oh, yeah. No, I do remember that, yeah.
But for some reason, it was very clear. Like, I thought for some reason...
Azul had
it, but I think he just yoinked his, like, barrier material, because as we recall, he does have, like...
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't really make sense for Azul to have the proto-materia at all.
But... yeah, it was very unclear of like what was happening there. So like, wait, where? So he's able to be a Chaos again. So that means he has the Pro Materia again. But no, he doesn't have the Pro Materia.
Okay.
Yeah, the animators spent a lot of time mastering that image of Vincent ripping a ball out of someone. So they're like, well, we got to use it more than is narratively useful. So throw it in with Azul as well.
Rosso successfully delivers it to Weiss, and then when Weiss went into the live stream, it fell into the Mako and now is inside Omega currently.
It's like Boo Boo. Maggie Simpson has it for a while, and then
Shulk's
trying to buy it off of.
But yeah, she gets the proto-materia from Lucrezia, right? Or like Lucrezia's soul, I guess, which is inside of Omega at this point. And there's like black evil tendrils trying to grab her, right? Like while she's flying through the live stream inside of Omega.
Yeah.
But she's able to escape it, and for the second time in like a single minute, blows up Omega's head. This dude just cannot win. He's been alive for like 10 minutes and just keeps getting his fucking dome popped.
He's like the fucking alien in Men in Black that's just constantly having his head blown up. I forget the actor's name.
Vincent D'Onofrio?
Yes, I believe so.
When he used water?
Vincent Valentine?
No, wait, is he the guy who is like the cockroach man?
Yeah.
No, not him. He's the one who like is in the pawn shop and
I know
Tommy Lee Jones shoots his head off and then it grows back. I had an action figure of him when I was a kid. Sick.
But yeah, so this is what I was wondering though, like Shulk is able to physically grab...
Yeah, we see Shulk blasting off and gives it... We see actually from like Vincent's point of view briefly that it's like Lucretia, or he sees Lucretia giving him, placing the proto-materia gingerly within his chest.
Yeah. And then she gets...
So she has to be a physical thing, right?
Because
she's able to like carry it and then give it to Vincent.
Yeah, maybe it was a turbine. Maybe they did just sloop Shulk and just launch her into fucking Omega.
It's Mario 64.
I'm going to go on site for this one.
They just put her in a cannon.
But then we see, we get a very confusing, like, flashback and a bunch of text. Like, all the text is very weird and kind of rapid fire and odd throughout the next couple scenes, right?
It's very impressionistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right before that, there is a very cool shot of Chaos Vincent when he goes less sicko mode and more in control mode when he gets
More
the
focused.
proto-materia inside of him. And you can see it on his face. He's like goes from snarling to being like the shocked
That
Pikachu face.
post-materia clarity.
But then it's like, as it's kind of like, like pulling back, like the camera's pulling back from him, there's like a huge full moon and he's kind of just like, bat wings, like floating there in front of it. It's pretty good.
He's like a little gargoyle.
Yeah. I'm always a sucker for that kind of shot.
Man, that moon's real big.
But yeah, we get a flashback to pre-punished Vincent back when he was a Turk, right?
Yeah.
In the Shinra Manor. And it's Lucretia trying to like save him, I guess, from being shot by Hojo, which we find out, or from being absorbed by chaos. One of the two, right?
I think it's kind of both, where I think we've learned that so we saw her like come across like Vincent on the floor after Hojo shoots him. I think maybe after Hojo does all these experiments with it, she basically tries to use chaos to like save him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically
right.
she wants to save Vincent's life. And the only way that she can do it is
It's like, well, I've been studying this thing that like is basically like a god and death entity that can maybe like preserve him to keep him from like dying.
Right.
Presumably, I mean, very poetically, she probably doesn't want to let Vincent die. Like,
Yeah,
she's
she
like,
doesn't want to
later,
kill
or-
Grimoire's entire line.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But she's kind of like talking to herself, being like, "Oh, I have to do this. Oh, and the tissue's already damaged." And she's kind of like running around doing some work. And Hojo comes in and he's like, "Oh, okay, you're doing another experiment. That's cool." He's like real chill about it. He's just like, "Oh yeah, you're experimenting on Vincent. All right, I got no problem with that. That's sick." And
it's like, I was done with him. Yeah.
yeah, and she's like, "No, I'm not experimenting on him. Like that's fucked up." And she like kind of flips out on him, and she's like screaming, "You're wrong about that." And then she kind of it looks like she like self.
Oh, so maybe this is where she decides to maybe use chaos, because she's
Maybe.
like currently like trying to like save Vincent's life, and then she thinks back to chaos. I'm like, oh right,
Yeah, and then
I
she
can use
says,
that, my
experiment, and then thinks of using chaos. I think maybe.
because we don't see the proto-materia in this flashback yet, right?
Right.
Yeah, but while all of that's happening, it kind of just like fades to black, and then there's a bunch of phrases that come by, which is I found it with him. That's why I couldn't save him. Proof, never again.
I like this. It's kind of just a big kind of overwhelming thing of thoughts.
Yeah, all of these are playing at the same time. All of that text,
Undefragmented, just emotions and thoughts and fragments, which is very effective. I think it actually it reminds me a little bit of like FF7 stuff, where like the text kind of plays around the screen. I forget where this happened, but maybe when we were exploring like Cloud's memories.
With Cloud shit. Yeah.
But yeah.
I guess we did do a neural net dive with Cloud at some point.
Yeah, I suppose so.
In his mind zone.
to the mind zone.
But then, we fade up and we do see when Lucretia stumbles across
Hojo having shot. Yeah.
Hojo with gun Hojo.
Gun Hojo.
Oh no.
We see the aftermath of Hojo shooting Vincent. Which is really all that happens there. We just see that scene and then it goes back to a black screen again.
Yeah, it shows her very upset about it, obviously, and she's saying things like, "You had his eyes." Like, obviously, she's reminiscing about Grimoire, and saying like, "Oh, I pushed you away. Now I realize I never wanted to lose you." It's very sad.
It's a very like I love kind of how complicated this relationship is, because obviously, I mean, Vincent had maybe feelings for Lucretia. Lucretia maybe didn't originally have like romantic intentions.
Yeah,
because like, it's basically my ex's son.
Yeah, my ex's son. Maybe I should stay away from this dude. Yeah.
It's my favorite show on TLC.
It's interesting but she felt like it was her duty to maybe save him.
Right. We see some scenes of Vincent in the test tube and Lucretia doing the experiments on him. She says, "I've done it, born of Lifestream, bringing it all together, stopping the imminent decay of tissue. But instead," and then we see a little bit of that black chaos energy inside the tube on him.
We're kind of piecing together the series of events that happened.
It's kind of, I mean, I feel like a lot of this we already know, like it's already been implied, but it's kind of just showing us little bits and pieces of it.
I feel like if we hadn't podcasted about it, I would have missed a lot of this stuff, because of just how much we just, it's so easy to miss unless we just kind of like sit and kind of.
And it's such a quick playthrough of a game if you're actually sitting down and not just thinking about it chapter by chapter and just playing through it. Like,
So I think what's really happening now is that because we have the proto-materia back given to Shulk by Lucrezia, like we're actually seeing a lot of those memories and everything that Shulk was talking about uploading, where she's like, oh yeah, I have all these memories and I have all of Lucrezia's feelings. And I think Vincent's getting all of this all at once. And so we're seeing like all these really quick shots of different scenes.
It did seem like when Shulk was blasting out, it almost actually it looks almost like a laser beam pierced him, but it was just like SND laser. So yeah, he's getting probably blasted with some connotations and stuff, or maybe even he's like has memories because he was there for a lot of this too.
Yeah, we see when Vincent's in the tube and he's taking in chaos that it's like not working properly at first, and he's like freaking out.
Talking about the animation not working,
where he's like no. When he's trying to bust out of the tube, he's like angry and like writhing around in pain.
I'm just saying the animation doesn't work because it doesn't loop properly.
Oh, that's right. It's very
weird.
When the animation goes off for Vincent during this part, it plays an animation, but it does not loop. So just after so many frames of it, it just snaps back to being exactly what it was before.
I wonder if they were like...
It looks like he flips.
I wonder if they like were doing that and then they're like, oh, this doesn't really, flow all that well. And then they're like, well, it does look really cool and kind of spooky and uncanny, so let's just keep it in.
Just keep it. We're so close to the end of the game. Who's gonna care?
We gotta get working on Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII too.
Yeah.
But as the camera's pulling back and Lucrezia is like distraught because of just chaos being kind of untamable, we see a little glow come from the corner of the screen, and she focuses and sees the proto-materia.
Which I'm assuming that Grimoire showed her when they found the crystal cave.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where the proto-materia came from, but
that's what I'm assuming.
It could be just like an old artifact or something like that as well, if it's from the same people who wrote this.
Terra Corrupt.
Yeah, just like we need something to kind of tame the monster or whatever. Like,
yeah, at very least, offering. I do believe they, Grimoire also found it because she says about it, this materia we found it together.
Okay, yeah.
So
I like that when
that's what I was assuming.
When she's typing on her computer, it looks just like a command prompt on like a Windows PC, like in full screen, and she's typing on it, and then like something's not working, so she slams her hands onto the keyboard, and it like flashes red for a second.
Yeah,
and then,
like,
I wish that shit happened at my job.
It wouldn't flash red if you didn't boop it.
Yeah. I'm always booping shit.
She's a fast typist.
Yeah.
It kind of cuts to, we can see from Vincent or Chaos's perspective now, and Lucrezia is like shaking Hojo, and she's like obviously very regretful of her, just everything that went on and everything that Hojo kind of led her to, and she just keeps saying, give him back, give my son back. Pretty sad.
And he just says, how is your experiment proceeding? And she goes, I don't know, I don't care.
Yeah, really.
Which like, yeah, I feel that. Yeah, and as the screen fades to black there, she says, let me see him just once, which is pretty sad.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that does explain more. I mean, like, we already know this from FF7, but, like, Sephiroth thinks that Genova is literally his mother, and you can kind of be like, oh, yeah, he literally never got to see Lucrezia. I guess that makes sense why he's like, oh, yeah, I'm probably the direct descendant of Genova. That makes sense to me.
Also, speaking of... It just made me realize, like, why Lucrezia went to Hojo is because she's trying to distance herself from Vincent.
I wonder. Yeah.
So for a while, she knows that Vincent is Grimoire's son, and she's like, I can't, so I need to, like...
Because you remember during the Shinra Manor episode, when he's remembering things about Lucrezia, when he first arrives at the mansion for the very first time, she's like, why would they send his ... Yeah.
Which I don't know why they would do that, unless that's just a complete coincidence.
I can imagine like President Shinra just like, this is going to be hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like any executive at Shinra will take any opportunity they can to be just a little bit more cruel.
Yeah,
either that or they
shitty.
had no idea because they're so fucking like oblivious and just like shitty.
Maybe we'll explore it more, but I know Before Crisis talks more about like how the Turks operated before FF7, so I'm curious if there's any mention of like Vincent's history there. So connect the dots.
Sure.
Which came out I think before this actually technically. So, but we don't know because it never came out in the US. But yeah, Lucrezia's kind of crashing. We don't really know exactly her fate, but she is kind of losing hope of, and also potentially some like mental stability. And it's a real bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't. take it anymore. My body. My mind. Before I go.
And then another, like,
Quick
I
cut.
guess a word cloud.
Yeah, a big word cloud fucking starts popping up.
Before I go.
Genova cell stored as data.
Must leave.
Record memory
For
copy.
him. Wait.
Disperse. Apply.
For
Fragments.
who?
So yeah, what was about the Genova cell? I guess he does have some Genova in him because of Hojo's fucking with him, right?
Yeah, I think pretty much, and we kind of learned this through everything that went on with Hojo and his, his I'm the evil guy and here's my entire plan.
Is that what Hojo meant? Like that's what maybe corrupted life stream is talking
Oh
about?
yeah,
like,
Genova
Genova's-
cells. Yeah. So any of the pure people in this world weren't contaminated by Genova cells.
That makes sense. All things considered.
Yeah. It's a perfectly cromulent plot point.
we get another flashback here, which like I didn't recognize as a flashback at first because we're in like Shulk is standing in the deep ground bunker that she's currently in right now. So I was like, oh, this must be happening right now. I don't know why this is happening right now, but all right. But I guess it's a flashback. And it's Nero and Shulk talking to each other, right? About like the visions and or I guess Shulk
Her mission.
Yeah, Shulk's mission really. And Shulk says, "Who is she?" And Nero's like, "Oh, that's Dr. Lucrezia Crescent." And Shulk says, "So I'm to collect the data files, the fragments she left within the network." And Nero's like, "Yeah, and then you're used to use that data to find the proto-materia. That is where he requires your assistance." And so I guess that's Nero bringing Shulk into the plan, into Weiss's plan,
Yeah.
to use these Lucrezia memories to find the proto-materia for him.
And by he, I think we mean Weiss
Yeah.
/ Hojo in this thing, where she's like, "Aha, you're ready for the big leagues, kid."
Yeah, right. And screen fades to black, and we hear a voiceover from Shulk.
That information is unnecessary.
And I think that's like Shulk talking to us in the real time, recognizing
Yeah.
that we've seen all these visions now, like we've been going through this. And she's like, okay, you now know enough to do what you need to do.
She's just rolling the tape back, like, "Oh wait, this is my memories. I went too far."
Yeah.
I wonder how much of that was like extra story building, or maybe it was like, well, they were planning on using the scene elsewhere and then didn't fit it in, so they're like, oh, let's just put it in here, and it's good for like immersion.
Or it was like a comment someone wrote on the script and they just recorded it anyway.
Yeah. But it's good for immersion. That obviously things are probably very disorienting for Shulk, especially since she's using the busted ass old day one patch model of the VR headset. So it's cool that they did that, where it's like, oh yeah, like you actually don't need to see that because it's irrelevant to what's going on right now. But we have this scene rendered already, so here you go.
And then I think we get a discussion between, well, really not even between, but just like Lucrezia's data fragments talking to us. It could be a flashback to some point at which Vincent has visited the Crystal Cave. But I think it's supposed to be like...
I think it's a flashback, like...
Oh, do you think so? I was going to say, I think it's supposed to be representative of something happening now, but I don't know.
Yeah, this may be a metaphorical space.
Or yeah, I guess it makes more sense for it to be happening in the present of Dirge of Cerberus.
It could be either, I guess. Yeah.
It's hard to say. It's in the cave. I don't know when he finds this out. This actually may connect to a scene we talk about later.
This fucking game.
They're showing the scenes out of order, but they're kind of delivering the information in a kind of a chronological sense. Like the scene may actually be post Dirge of Cerberus, which we'll talk about later.
It's very season 3 of Twin Peaks.
Yeah. In that I didn't actually watch it.
Oh my god, Carl, it's so good.
Is it good? Shit, I should watch it.
Have you seen 1 and 2?
I don't think I ever finished 2. I fell off of it, but
okay.
Anyway.
There's a lot of boring parts in 2, but
I mean, it's also potentially that Vincent has visited Lucrezia's cave before, because I mean, we have been to her
exactly.
cave
Yeah.
Right.
in FS7, so this could be any time, honestly.
yeah, that's where you get his final ultimate weapon, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, this is where we get his final ultimate weapon, literally.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to the gameplay yet. God damn it.
But Luke, so it's kind of like, it's not a monologue, it is a dialogue between Vincent and Lucrezia, but Vincent says nothing, so just don't have to worry about that. This is all Lucrezia text.
Hello, Vincent. Something's wrong. You see, this is me. but only in a sense. It is merely a reflection created with my remaining data. The real me crumbled away long ago.
Do you remember our place under that tree? And then we see the tree that they had like the little picnic at or whatever. And she's like, the warm breeze on our skin. I know it no longer exists. Things fade with time, as do many things in this world. But there are some things we cannot let disappear. I've finally realized my true feelings, even though you may never understand them. And like, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess she's like, Vincent, I think that you're hot.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say.
But you're also you could almost his stepmom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird in general, but I guess by 2022 standards, it's pretty, status quo, depending on which websites you're on.
Yeah, she's just a MILF now. It's fine.
Where is Vincent's mom?
That's a good question.
Vincent's mom is the fucking darkness.
Vincent's mom is Genova. Full circle. Fuck it.
Fuck it. All right.
She has this catchphrase, which is not that I mind though, which I think she said a few times. I'm curious what that was in Japanese, which probably is a little more of an actual like.
Probably just a
catchphrase.
saying or what? Yeah.
Not that I mind though. She said it before. I think Shulk's also said it before.
Yeah. But yeah, she's like, oh well, it wasn't meant to be. I've made too many mistakes, and I'm sorry for that. But I'm happy that you survived. And then we see that tree where they were, and Vincent's now like standing up, and he like looks more conscious, and he just screams Lucrezia. And then we like snap back to the present, right, where he's Chaos, he's flying in front of the moon, looking cool as shit, and it feels like he's like processed all those memories now, right? Like,
yeah.
we're finally like in the present. He's realized what's going on. He's stable. It's time to whip some ass, right?
So here's what I'm curious about, because he flies down past the Shinra Tower.
Yeah.
And then next scene we see him with Shulk. So like, was Shulk
in his brain,
or is he going down to deep ground to just pull her out of her VR chair?
I figured that he went down to get her, I guess, because I assume that the net dive is not her physical body.
Yeah. But she was still able to deliver the proto materia.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And yeah, you're right. And then like after Shulk says you're late, and Vincent's like, oh, sorry about that. And then Shulk says, not that I mind though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, literally the next thing she says.
Kept you waiting, huh?
And then they have like a little conversation. I like this conversation. Like every conversation between Vincent and Shulk, I think, are like my favorite parts of this game.
Yeah.
A bunch of weirdos.
She was always like that. Only believing what she wanted to.
So, Vincent, why don't you try telling her that yourself?
Maybe I will.
Yeah, it's a very kind of clunky wording of all this, but
yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot more nuance in the original script.
But then he gets his sick fucking gun out and says, but first we have a story to end.
Yeah, and how does he get
shit.
that gun out?
He has his like robot voice too.
Yeah. What's his Chaos voice?
Yeah, he's fucking turned into a Digimon at this point.
Yeah, it's very also like Yu-Gi-Oh monster, where he just like puts out his hand and like the gun materializes around it in like a really cool showing.
Oh yeah, it's a fucking huge ass crazy weapon.
What's it called? Death penalty, I think.
It's the death penalty. It's his last weapon from FF7. It does more damage the more enemies he kills.
Neato.
I don't think it does that in this game, but it does in the original FF7.
And then he blasts off like Neo.
And he blasts off like Neo. Whomst amongst us does not want to blast off? Actually, yeah, this is the beginning of the chapter, right? Like gameplay now.
Now we get to start playing the game.
Yeah, we get to play Omega and Chaos is the name of this this chapter now.
Omega and Chaos.
And it kind of feels like we get to play a different game too. Like it doesn't feel like the rest of Dirge of Cerberus at all.
The music is weird. The enemies are like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, we're fighting like geometric shapes instead of like enemies.
It's very set piecey in a way that like this game has not really been up until now. Like obviously they've had really cool set pieces, but this is literally like off in the distance you see just on the horizon an enormous fucking Omega just there, and you got to kind of make your way through it in what amounts to basically just being like walking down one-way hallways, like not actual hallways, they're like platforms and stuff.
Yeah,
but
Yeah, we're on floating like rubble and stuff above Midgar.
yeah. There is some cool little details, like there's different scaffolding that's fallen and stuff, and you see like a Shinra Electric Co. Logo just on the sign that's like a part of that rubble, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think we have... Do we have infinite ammo with the death penalty?
No, I don't think we have infinite. I think it just starts out with like 400 or something. Like I'm looking.
It starts out with a ton. Yeah,
You can still switch over, though.
you can still switch guns. Now you can't equip the death penalty with anything, though. I will say that.
Yeah, it's unmoddable.
Yeah.
Not compatible with any of the WRO shit.
Damn, I was gonna glue it to the Ultima weapon.
Yeah, which like it's insanely strong. So like why would you? But
Yeah, it like one shots everything pretty much, right?
everything in this stage is one shotted, which is why it feels more like a side scrolling shooter that's over the shoulder than anything, because like all the geometric diamond lasers that are flying at you, they just fly up to you insanely, like inhumanly quickly, open up, they like peel open like a flower, and then shoot a laser at you, and then fly away.
Yeah.
Like if they miss, and you're just one-shotting them as they come in.
They are called the Omega Bud and the Omega Leaf.
You guys are my Omega buds.
I was getting ready to say that, Carl.
So cute.
And yeah, this whole area is, speaking of Bud, just like a bad trip.
Yeah, it's really cool.
This is scary. Much like Vincent's jumping, in which he can just jump as high as he wants to if it's FMV, Vincent is currently just flying about 1 foot off the ground the entire time.
He is, yeah.
And not jumping any higher. I think also, does he not have a double jump here?
He does not have a double jump
Yeah,
here,
so he can jump less now actually than what we're used to.
Well, you need that. He maybe he is double jumping. It's just that because he's not on the ground,
this
every
is the
jump
double
is his
jump.
second jump. Yeah.
It's like half an A press in.
He's zoom hovering right now.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, we make our way along like various cables and scaffolding toward Omega.
Yeah, we fall into like a tunnel thing that's like a giant tube. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The music is really strange and like synthy now. There's no
Love it.
Yeah, there's no orchestral bits. It's very spacey and otherworldly, and there's this kind of like synthesizer-y harpsichord plucky thing going on. It's very shimmery and just creepy.
Yeah. And then we get our like epic team FMV happens, right? Like to show all the team.
Oh yeah, once we get close enough to Omega, right? I think.
Yeah, we see Chaos Vincent walking.
Yeah.
He decides to not float any longer and is just walking up to like a precipice of where he is and sees.
For some reason, we're on a helicopter landing pad when the FMV starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happens?
Yeah, how does this one start? I'm not looking at the.
So yeah, like Vincent walks up to a just like the edge of like this thing. Some of those buds pop up and start shooting lasers at him, and he kind of just flies off to the distance and is returning fire on them, which is super cool. And it's like, I like this. Like, this part of the game is basically just a big interactive cutscene. Like, you one shot everything. There's not any particular challenge or any kind of like. It's not.
Well,
really...
I did have to heal. I will say, like those things can light you up if you're not.
Yeah,
careful
for
on
sure.
them.
But it's
But
not.
yeah.
Are
like...
you still playing a hard mode?
I don't think I ever played this one on hard mode, did I?
Okay, I for some reason thought you may have like picked a different difficulty level.
No,
than the
that
rest
was
of us.
FF4, and I regret every moment of it.
Oh yeah. So you're actually talking about the team moment though. I'm still just kind of talking about the level.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to talk about this gameplay section. Like,
it's pretty boring. I was just looking at it as like it being, I guess, a little better than just dumping a whole.
yeah, the ending of this game could be very long, and they're just trying to break up all the different beats. I think
It's well done, I think. It does play more like a movie or a music video, even.
Yeah,
Like, it's cool. I like it.
it's cool and fun, but
in the Omega cutscene, we do see like a big. For some reason, Omega has a big force field around him right now.
Yeah.
And it pops and gives off this big burst of energy. Vincent gets blasted, but he's fine. We see some of the reactors reacting even more, and Cloud jumps down and like cuts like one of the energy links between Omega and the thing, and he pulls up his flip phone and says, "Everything's cool over here," or whatever. Sorry about the wait.
Yeah. So, yeah, Cloud, or I guess everybody somehow calls Vincent at once.
he calls Vincent. He's like, "Hey, Vincent, you like motorcycles?"
We saw the explosion before Cloud jumps down, so maybe this is when everyone's actually blowing up the reactors.
Yeah,
now.
blowing up the remaining reactors. Yeah.
We see Tifa in her cool Advent Children outfit, really baggy shorts.
Yeah.
Wearing gloves.
Barrett in his very cool Advent Children outfit with the fishnet shirt and the vest.
I
over
love
it.
Barrett's.
It's so good.
He's got kind of a dad bod, and I love
Yeah,
it.
it's awesome.
He's got like a little gut. He's got a little gut. Like I like that.
Like,
He's cool.
I like Barrett's design in FF7, like the original FF7. I think it's really good, and I also like his Advent Children design a lot. Like they're very different, and they're very good.
Yeah.
Really good designs.
And then there's a shot of Sid, of course, lighting up a cigarette with like
Sid's like leaning
Blasting
up against the wall,
cigs. Yeah, dude.
blasting cigs.
with a reactor blowing up behind him, like all in a day's work.
Yeah.
Right. And then we see Reeve commanding some WRO soldiers who are firing up at Omega.
And two of our favorite child soldiers, Shulk and Yuffie.
Yeah, who are there. And Shulk kind of quietly to herself says, when did I start caring so much about what's happening or what happened? And then she kind of like looks up to where Vincent is and says, the rest is up to you. And then we get a fucking like the most like anime scene ever where the screen splits into like 7 pieces and you see all the main
Like
cast.
3
of
frames
FF7.
of everyone's face.
Yeah.
Just blank the kind of recap.
Yeah, and they all go, Vincent!
Red should be in here. I don't know where Red is.
Yeah, Red's just unbothered. He's like, you know what? I adventured already. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
He does appear though. He is.
Red's a little later on in
Yeah.
coming up.
He pops in the ending.
But we do get that very anime like split screen.
Yeah.
Where it's all converging to the top, where we see all 6 major characters: Cloud, Tifa, Yuffie, Barrett, Sid, and Reeve. The screen fits in, and all the lines of the separators converge into like a beam that goes up that turns into Vincent. It's a very cool it's
very
it reminds me
anime.
of the Cowboy Bebop intro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ba-dum.
Where the split line turns into the swordfish.
Yeah.
I imagine this would be a really cool background in 2006, like a Windows XP desktop background.
Damn, do you mean this would be a really cool background in 2022? 'Cause I agree.
Of course.
And then Vincent very coolly just says, I guess I have no choice. It's time to save the world.
It's so good. It's so
Which,
fucking
like,
stupid and corny
dude,
and dumb, but it works.
I think it's, you know what? I think the thing is that it's earned it at this point.
Yeah.
Like the fact that like the whole game has been like kind of edgy, but it has actually restrained itself quite a bit. You know what I mean? Like it's not gone too edgy when it could have. And so
It's not Devil May Cry. Like,
it's not Devil May Cry. So like
not
the
No More
fact that they
Heroes
waited
level of edge.
right. So the fact that they waited to the very end to do this, like I'm kind of like, you know what? You earned it. I'm in. Let's do it. This is cool.
Yeah, they show another shot of the rest of the party minus Red 13. All just going, yeah.
They do the reverse where instead of them saying Vincent and turning white into a beam, Vincent turns into a purple like flame, which turns into the dividers between all their faces. It's a very cool cinematic thing.
Yeah.
So we like burst into Omega, right? Like
Their blood busted into his like shield bubble that's around him or something like that.
And the game
He's got some sort of force field.
The game becomes like a shooter. Like I know it's already a shooter. What would you call it?
It
Like
becomes Space Harrier specifically.
it becomes Space Harrier, and the music turns into a fucking Gact song, and it's cool as hell.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I have homies who disagree with me, who have like openly said that I'm wrong about this, but dear listener, they are wrong. It is always a good decision to put a song with lyrics in your video game. I love that shit every time.
unless it is Final Fantasy VII Remake. That is my spicy hot take.
Where's that at?
The end credits.
Oh, okay.
There's a really, one of my favorite songs in fucking Final Fantasy VII Remake is just a nice instrumental song that plays when you're in one of the slums, and then at the end cutscene, like at the end when it's getting to the point where I'm just like, I hate what they're doing with this story. It starts playing that again. I'm like, okay, that's nice. And then it's just like,
yeah, well, I mean, like when you're
singing vocals.
I mean, when you're playing the game, it's always cool to have like a song when you're actually like running around doing things.
Oh yeah, agreed. But don't take a beautiful Nobuo Uematsu orchestration and add lyrics to it.
No, it's fine. You
Which
can do
I'm
it.
sure he added the lyrics to it. I'm just a curmudgeon.
Yeah, he fucking wrote Sodeki to didn't he?
Yeah, that song fucking rules though, and so does Eyes on Me. I just do not like Hollow.
Importantly, those are not during the credits. That's the difference.
Yeah. Fair.
And this is a Longing by Gact, and it does feel like I was saying, it feels very much like a Tool video because we're just in like this kind of this nightmare sphincter.
Yeah, it's like an episode of the Magic School
we are
Bus.
in the
got
nightmare
shrunk down.
sphincter.
Just blowing up all of Omega's insides, I guess.
Yeah, we're shooting his various geometric organs, like blowing them up as we fly through. It rules. It's cool as hell.
It's a really fun part.
Like, and the music elevates it.
Did you have any challenge? Like, was there any challenge for you on this, Curtis, or no?
I don't think you even have to shoot any of them. I think it'll just let you buy.
Yeah, I think there's like a stretch of, I would just call it like intestine, where you're like...
What did you call it? The nightmare sphincter?
Yeah.
It's good.
Some of the buds or leaves, I don't know what the difference is. Actually, I think it must be the leaves if they open up. And they're shooting at you, but I think after you like pass a certain threshold, it just continues on to the next area.
Yeah.
So you could just like avoid hitting them all.
And then we plopped into a flesh atrium. And we fight a bunch of buds at once. And much like Nero, the secret to them is to strafe. And if you strafe, you are fine.
Yeah. Yeah, we just kind of make our way through various cool looking platforms, but again, just kind of one way things. Like at one point, like there's like a circular bit that you can go around, but it's like so tiny that it still only leads to one spot. And then like the next time that happened, I went to go and make a left, and I was like blocked by the ramp that's leading up, and I was just like, okay, I guess I gotta go right then.
I like that room though. That room.
It's really cool looking.
It's
yeah.
like
it's like you were like going up its neck or something. Maybe?
Like I was gonna call it like the intestinal cathedral. Like it fucking like, it looks like the floor is made of like fleshy stained glass. It's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it feels a lot more church-like as we go up.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of gothic.
Yeah.
Organic gothic inspired shit. It's pretty cool.
And the whole time that fucking just song is just banging and doing like guitar solos and shit. It's fucking cool as shit.
Vincent also looks extremely visual K. Now that I'm thinking,
he does.
in terms of Gact and stuff. So it's
absolutely
real good.
We get one just very silly small thing where once we reach the top of that cathedral, we are outside kind of. And there's like a light bridge connecting the two pauldrons of...
Yeah, you're right. There's like a light bridge that goes in front of Omega's face, and we're on it, and a bunch of those like buds are firing at us. But much like your job, if it sucks, just hit the bricks. You don't have to do any of this fight. You can just walk on. And that's what I did. I was like, nah. I just walked to the next area. Didn't shoot anybody.
This is like maybe like the most segmented level we've played so far, where everything is immediately like cut off by like a cutscene that is mostly just like a transition to the next little chunk.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really weird. Like it looks like you might have to do the thing where it's like, oh, clear all the enemies and then you can proceed forward. But like Curtis said, you don't have to fight anyone. And
this is all just kind of to make you feel cool and
to give you
just lead us to the finale.
Yeah, to give you agency with chaos, which is really cool. Even though it's like very underwhelming if you look at it from like a gameplay mechanic. Like there's not really too much to do and it's not challenging or anything, but it's cool as hell. So
no, it's awesome. It's a really good. I like this outro.
And again, better than just a dump of cutscenes.
And then is the very next room is the boss room.
So yeah, as we reach, I guess, quote unquote, the end of this light bridge, it cuts to a little cutscene where Vincent, as Chaos, of course, is staring down Omega's face with its cool like fucking Ava unit spiky nose. And Vincent's protomateria reacts, and he just blasts off and goes into the little like hoop thing above Chaos's head, and it's like a little Stargate that goes
above
into
Omega's head.
Yes, above Omega's head. And then we get our stage results.
Yeah. Oh, wait, is this where we get our stage results and our results?
No, I think the results are later.
Okay.
This is the stage results for Omega and Chaos, though.
Let me get out my phone and see what my stage results are, because I do think I took a picture of it.
I think my favorite part about this was the very last thing that it says, which is time expired, which was for me 12 minutes on the dot.
Ooh,
and I'm watching
nice.
back my video and the play clock is at 32 minutes, and I was like, oh, I guess none of those cutscenes counted towards the playtime.
That's good.
I literally only played for 12 minutes.
Here we go.
That information is unnecessary.
Oh my! You know what? I got the best time of all. I'm gonna blow it up so you can see it. I think you'll appreciate it. 1312, baby!
Oh, that's so much better. 1312, let's go, dude.
Back Based.
The ideal time. Yeah, I mean, not too much really happened in this segment. I used one item and I got an S rank for it. I had 53 kill chains, no critical hits, which I'm like, that's not my fault. I was one-shotting everything. How is that not a critical hit? And then I realized in the next part that you can cycle through weapons, and I was like, oh, you can probably get a critical hit that way, but.
That's fair.
I think I got like 14 minutes or something, but I don't remember what I did.
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
It's a quick section, yeah.
That information is not necessary.
But yeah.
I was wondering if there's extra shit to do in this chapter. I don't think there is. I think this is very much like, well, close out the development of the game. Like, let's get going. Because it brings you to a screen where it would have the extra ones, and there's like 4 additional things there, and it just says like chapter ranking S for me.
Well, all we got left to do, fight the final boss. So I think maybe we should do a little piercing before we a little rest and a little
hit the
chilling.
Fucking bricks.
Hit the fucking bricks before we go
Expel
in there.
some things out of our nightmare sphincters and
That's quite right. God, if only that was at the beginning of this at the beginning of the season, we could be like, well, time to go release the nightmare sphincter.
Better late than never.
Not that I mind though.
We're in the area where you fight Rom the vacuous spider in Bloodborne.
I was trying to think of like where I've seen this before, and I was coming up empty, but that is exactly where we are. It is nice that we do get to, well, I guess we do this at the end of every chapter. We're able to go to the shop, even though narratively that makes no fucking sense.
There hasn't been any...
It would make more sense if they just put a jukebox here like that.
Yeah, inside of Omega. Like when Omega forms, there's just a fully made jukebox inside of him.
Yeah.
We're in this vast blank space, and in the middle is just one jukebox, and that is your enemy.
Yeah. Oh, you know where we are? We are
where you fight Shadow Link in the Water Temple. We are on the final fight of Skyward Sword versus Demise.
Yeah.
This one goes out to all of my Tekken heads. We are in Infinite Azure from Tekken 7.
Oh, nice. It's very.
I was like, that's where I've seen it.
Very nice.
We're basically on a lake that you can stand on. That is infinite in all directions.
Yeah, but there is an invisible wall that you will hit if you try to go too far.
Oh, well.
Boo.
There you have it.
But yeah, it's just like the horizon and a skybox. So, we're just on this really cool looking place.
Okay, now that Hojo has left Weiss, I guess, we're all friends now, right?
Yeah.
Like he's cool now. Weiss is cool now. Because he no longer has Hojo in him.
But that's not the case.
But that's not the case. He's also a dick.
Yeah, he fucking sucks. He's an asshole. Fuck this guy.
So
what are the odds?
So there's a big, like, throbbing meatball underneath the surface of the water that has, like, basically Weiss as a faith from FF10.
Oh, yeah.
Really cool looking.
Encased in the top of it, like a little Weiss nougat.
So what happened was he was trying to let future generations know about him. So instead of writing his name into the cement like Bart did in that one episode, he just encased himself entirely in the cement. He must be much smarter than his brother Nero.
About whom we know nothing.
Yeah, the really cool image though. It looks kind of like one of the monster arena enemies in Final Fantasy X. I can't remember which one. One of the ones that needed pierce damage or something that was just way too fucking hard to fight.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like submerged underneath the water where we are, and a bunch of fucking giant like crystal things.
They're called feelers.
They're called the crystal feelers.
Yeah.
They look like a Legend of Zelda puzzle. You have to shoot with like a fucking bow or slingshot or boomerang or something.
Right. Yeah, and they're like protruding out through the floor, right?
Yeah.
I think there's 5 of them, if I recall.
5 or 6, something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
but there's just more of those Omega buds shooting at you occasionally, and you're just trying to figure out how to blow up these feelers because they're the only thing really you can shoot at.
Yeah. It took me a second to realize what was going on.
It took me a long time to realize what was going on. Not so much that I understood mechanically what I had to do. The only problem was I don't think the death penalty was working against the crystal feelers when they opened up.
Okay.
Yep.
I was either like completely missing them or it just doesn't work. And it wasn't until I realized that you could change weapons that I could actually like beat these things.
Can you shoot them with your other guns?
Oh no, you know what? No, that's what it was. I like couldn't remember, and it's like you have to melee them, right?
Yeah.
They are invulnerable. Invulnerable.
They're invulnerable. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I mean, invulnerable also makes you incapable of being pwned, so invulnerable
That's
definitely makes sense.
Yeah, you can give them the old knuckle sandwich, the old 1-2s, and
I love giving them the old one too.
Yeah, they don't take many hits.
Yeah, you can take them out in
I
one
do
round.
like that. The crystal buds that are popping up are there to I don't know, replenish your resources, I guess, and give you like, bullets and red potions
drops,
and stuff like
that
that.
makes sense.
So it's funny, you just like shoot one of them and then there's just a little like backpack, just fucking Jansport thing floating on the water that you try and pick up.
They're also like the quote unquote source of challenge in this because they're really the only things that are attacking you.
Yeah.
I don't know what the lore and the significance of the feelers are, because it just looks like this cocoon is what we'll find out it's called.
Well, yeah, once we break all of them.
It's just protruding from, like, the feelers are just kind of coming up and like they're charging or soaking up energy or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, you got to charge this crystal by jerking off. Charge your JO crystal.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah. Once we break all of them, that allows the like pod that Weiss is inscripted on to like come up through the floor. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gross.
It kind of nasty.
It's cool. He looks like a sculpted like the Roman sculptures and stuff, and like the statue of like Michael the Archangel or something, like hella cut. Like,
yo, Weiss is hella cut.
I'm sure if I posted this on Twitter, some like conservative right wing piece of shit would be like, "This is like the perfect showing of culture. Like this is the culture that we're fighting for." Like, fucking idiots.
But this next section is not as hard because it is just shoot cocoon.
Shoot the meatball.
Yeah, there's really nothing else. It's just the cocoon raises up in the air, and it's kind of it looks like it's supported by like 3 little tendrils or something. And
I think it's the same as the pods. It was the tendrils that were.
It's like a maypole.
The feelers, yeah.
But also, like, we're seeing some geometric shapes are starting to spawn around us.
But the cocoon doesn't really do anything, though. It just takes damage.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know if I was just super over leveled because I only dumped into levels, but like, no challenge at all. Like, just before I even knew it, like I was using like, I guess I was just using the death penalty, but like, yeah, this not a difficult fight at all.
I'm watching my playthrough of this back to kind of like see what what it's like and what it's all about and everything. And my chat is just full of people saying meatball. So that's. Yeah.
How many meatball bosses are there in Final Fantasy? I feel like it feels very 10, this last stretch.
Yeah, it does feel extremely 10.
Just because it's gross, organic, but ancient looking thing.
Reminds me of the nucleus.
Yeah.
Nucleus.
Sin's nucleus.
It looks like a Genova's meatball butt when we fight her in the crater.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But once the cocoon is down to 20%, we go to a next cutscene.
Yeah, we just win. We don't even have to like get its HP all the way down.
Yeah.
It gives up. It pops. It busts.
Yeah, straight busting.
It does explode like in a fiery ball, and then we're in just like a kind of a gray, bluish space.
So what happens is we go from the Tekken Azure level to one of the... Oh, actually, I think it's also a Tekken level. There's another Tekken level where you're just on a bunch of like floating geometric shapes. We're just going through all the Tekken stages, basically.
We're in the PS2 startup screen.
I was just gonna say that.
That's
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, it's literally just that. Like, it's so good. That's better than Kojima could ever do. The creators of Dirge of Cerberus have transported us to the very first thing you see when you load up the disc.
Love it.
But yeah, it's just kind of an empty, like foggy sort of arena that has all of those like weird transparent and now like kind of blue geometric shapes just kind of, or I guess they're really only like squares.
Yeah.
They're just pylons and
squares, perhaps a rectangle or two.
Ooh.
It's a Minecraft stage.
We get a good look at Death Penalty from like the front. Like there's a side profile of Vincent kind of at an angle. aiming at Weiss, who is walking towards us with the death penalty, and it looks cool as shit. It just looks like a cross, like a Castlevania cross that you would throw at Dracula to kill.
This cutscene is really strange also.
So this cutscene is like
Weiss comes out and he's completely blank faced while he's holding these two like extremely long, almost like two Masamunes.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice how long they were at first.
Because what could be scarier than Sephiroth with a big Masamune? A guy with two
Sephiroth,
of them.
but this time he's got two. Yeah, he's dual wielding, just like
What do we call
Halo 2.
What do we call him last night? He's Jock Sephiroth.
Yeah.
God, it's so true. It's like upsettingly true.
But yeah, you do see the cool close up of the death penalty from Chaos Vincent, and then we cut over, like the first thing you see is just a completely blank face like Weiss, and then he does his devilish smile.
Yeah, he's looking pissed, and then he's looking
dashes.
Yeah, he obviously it's to show that like Weiss is incredibly powerful, but Vincent is now also incredibly powerful. Is that Weiss does this super quick dash, and then at the last moment kind of turns to the left really fast, right? To kind of like try to get around Vincent. And Vincent just like effortlessly tracks him and just shoots the shit out of him with the death penalty.
I like the way that you described that, because that sounds like extremely cool and stuff. In the actual cutscene, it's fucking goofy. It's like literally Vincent shoots a beam, like a special beam cannon from fucking Dragon Ball Z through Weiss, and he's like flying backwards. And then it cuts, and directly behind Vincent Chaos is Weiss, like with his swords out, and he's like smiling and like ready to kill him.
It's also through Chaos. He already like stabbed him.
Yeah, it's through Chaos, and then it cuts again, and it's just fucking Vincent with the gun behind Weiss's head as he smiles. It's like the astronaut meme of like
it's
the
so
astronaut
good.
in space with the gun behind
fucking
him. Or like
Weiss gives him the "it's nothing personal, kid." Yeah.
Don't trust anyone, not even yourself.
Yeah. Don't trust anyone, not even yourself. But then behind him is another one.
it's
like,
really goofy. It's really fun.
Weiss behind Vincent, stabbing him, but then Vincent somehow behind Weiss. Oh my gosh! Like
nonsensical, but really effective, because I cannot stop thinking about it.
It does feel very dreamlike, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But this time Weiss dodges, and then it just turns into a straight up like Dragon Ball Z. Like the death penalty, which noticeably has like a black energy beam. Like Weiss does a cool like spin with his swords.
I was gonna say he blocks the beam by just spinning his sword real fast.
I mean, hey, I've never tried spinning swords to block bullets, but I assume that it probably works.
and then it escalates even more, and we just like from a faraway shot to see these little flashes of blinks and like little like beams going back and forth, assuming that they're just like fighting each other at like light speed.
Like we're not going to animate the punches; it's just going to be flashes in different spots to show that they're going so fast.
And then Weiss calls down a Gundam from the skies.
Yeah, so the Megapod. It looks like a little motorcycle too.
He puts on his giant like Rick Owens coat that is also Omega and twice his size. Right. Yeah,
I'm kind of disappointed that like Weiss also doesn't really say. There's like no dialogue in this whole.
There's
scene,
no dialogue.
I kind of want to hear more Weiss as himself, and we never really do.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what that motorcycle thing looks like, Curtis? I forget the name of it, but the one boss in Final Fantasy VIII, the like in Esther, I think is where it is. I know you have to draw something from it at some point. Begins with an E.
A boss?
Or maybe it's like a rare encounter that you have to get there for a certain drawing. I'll figure it out.
Okay, yeah, figure it out and send it to me.
But yeah, the mech appears as like a giant kind of, I don't know, a weird fancy looking pine cone. But it splits in half, and then inside is basically kind of like, it looks like a mini Omega, but the bottom of it is like almost like a motorcycle chassis or something.
It's the El Noil.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, you fight it as a boss in Dalit.
Dalit. Oh, in Dalit? Damn.
Yeah, it's like the second and third boss.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's right. Damn. This guy
draw
doesn't even
Siren
like
from it. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. It's also in Esther, I'm pretty sure, as a regular enemy.
There's a gray and yellow version of it you can find later in that area. Yeah. Sorry.
Stay tuned more next season.
Ooh.
We might be jumping into FF8 a little more.
Two more things that are just in my chat are I love Pacific Rim when this is happening. And which Kingdom Hearts is this?
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
That's
But
good.
it basically looks like a fucking goth version of Penance.
Yeah, it does.
Goth penance for sure.
'Cause, I mean, it has like the floating arms and shit. The two halves of like the cocoon acorn thing, like it has arms drop from it, and the center body is just kind of like a weird floating motorcycle thing.
Yeah. And it picks Omega up via these like Omega. It picks Weiss up via these like blue cables, right?
Yeah.
It's still a very deep ground color scheme, which is cool. They've been kind of tying everything together. This
Yeah, they
visual
branded
theme.
very well, Deep Ground.
And this is the last boss.
Yeah,
This
this is it. And Weiss is a cool little pilot in this mech. And it's also not a very hard boss.
It's not real bad. It has one attack that will fuck you up.
Oh yeah, like the big explosion thing.
Yeah, I didn't know how to dodge it, so I just took it right to the face.
Yeah, I definitely didn't dodge it, and it did like 1,400 damage,
Yeah.
which I had more than enough to just sponge that. But
Yeah.
There's a typo in here. The Brady guide, it says Mega Weiss, and it should be Omega Weiss. Oh no, it is Omega. It's just the page is folded. I'm sorry. Sorry, Brady.
Sorry to everyone, all the kind people at Brady Games for our slander.
I did use my final stat screen points to get levels finally though, Carl, so I did make it up to a nice and beefy level 17 at the end of this game.
Nice. I think
I was level 11 before that, like doing the last stage.
The one thing in this battle that I really liked was there's a part where like I guess he just gets some cover by like putting up like shield things, but it's just a bunch of like little rectangles that like blue rectangles that are just kind of floating, and you have to like blow them up before you can shoot through them, and they're spaced very evenly and stuff. And I was like, this is literally just like the memory card screen of PlayStation 2. I was like, oh no, I'm destroying all my save data. No.
Yeah, there's a couple things that Omega Weiss can do here, right? Like
He'll smack you with his hands.
He hit you
He'll
with his
swipe
hand.
at you. He has Meteor, which I think is the big one.
Okay,
Oh yeah, that
okay.
makes sense.
One of the things that happens is there are columns, like large columns that are like quite wide, that raise up out of the ground to kind of prevent you from shooting at him. So those can be kind of annoying.
Yeah.
He can shoot you from a distance with tracking shots.
Which you can actually shoot with your with death penalty with no problem. 'Cause
Okay.
your death penalty has a big blast radius too. It's almost like every shot's magic.
Yeah. Hey, there's also two parts to him, because when I shot, I would see two different damage numbers pop up.
I think there's Weiss and like the actual mech, because sometimes Weiss I think
Okay.
comes down. Like sometimes Weiss will just come down on the ground and take a few shots at you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I also noticed the two hitboxes.
They count
or
as
whatever.
two separate targets.
I didn't notice that there's just a fan, like a cooling fan. Oh, that's what you're
Yeah.
talking about with the motorcycle thing, right?
Yeah, it's a little cooling vent.
Yeah.
That's how he flies, I guess.
And it just spins. He's just getting rid of that excess heat, you know? It's how technology is. Everything's getting
Real
hotter.
cool
man.
design.
Oh yeah, so here the guide says Weiss leaps from his throne, like a ghost Weiss comes down and attacks you.
Ghost Vice.
Seems like it's kind of a blink and you miss it sort of thing, because
Yeah.
I may have blinked and I definitely missed it.
Omega Weiss calls has an absolutely devastating godlike attack that he will unleash once he's low HP. Watch him to fly in the sky and start an orange glow and red. Oh yeah, this is like the meteor, I think.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if you could just deflect it by meleeing?
Just kick it.
Yeah, you just press the
Fucking
punch
Breath
button,
of
you
the
knock
Wild doing
meteor
the
away.
parry to kill a guardian.
Vincent could have saved yeah, fuck holy, we got it. We can just kick it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ultimate attack in this one is
Just
that,
do the
like,
jack shot.
his best attack is meteor, and like he flies too far away for you to hit him. Like he kind of flies out past the bounds of the stage, and you see him like summoning several like orange orbs that
This is real Radon in fucking Elden Ring. Shit. I was like, oh shit.
It's almost like there's like I don't not pillars. There's like cylinders around him that
Yeah.
help charge it up, right?
I forget how it
They're
works.
like little turrets that like branch out on his arms that like
There's something.
glowing with orange. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought maybe they were just like orange orbs or something, but yeah. And they kind of like charge up meteor, and then he throws meteor down on you, and like it's fast enough that I didn't really see what even happened. I was like, oh, I think I dodged it. I think it's hitting the other side of the area, but no, it hit me, and it did like 80% of my HP at once.
Yeah, it
Like
does
from
it
full.
quite a bit.
It seems like the strategy that is recommended for like the meteor is either just be on the opposite side of the map or be on top of one of those pillars because it does a lot of like area damage.
Oh, okay.
So you can maybe take a ride up.
All right.
Oh, interesting. I guess it would make sense that they wouldn't just put in an unavoidable attack.
So that's okay. So what you're saying is we have to do what you have to do in the final boss of the new Kirby game, where it casts meteor and a meteor hits the ground, but you have to climb up on top of all the debris to get away from it. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then you got to suck in the stars and shoot it back at it.
That's right.
Just like here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. We get a cutscene, a very brief one of Weiss getting owned and being dead as hell. And
yeah, he's not tough.
kind of just falling out of his seat or whatever. So he's falling, and then we just get our results page.
I like seeing Omega like sinking through the ground like Terminator 2.
Yeah. Ooh, and what is the results page called?
I was extremely confused because I didn't realize what this was, and the first thing that jumped out to me was damage sustained, which I got a D because it was 183,476 hit points of damage. And I was like, I only had like 2,500. How the fuck did I take that much damage during this fight? Like, did that meteor attack really do that much? And then like when I saw targets destroyed and everything, I was like, oh, I saw time expired and it was like 11 hours and 2 minutes. And I was like, oh, this is like cumulative. When
it starts, it says cumulative results. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is the stats for the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were your rankings, guys?
So we have to go through right, because like we often go through our cool stats or whatever. I feel like because this is the last episode, we have to go through our stats.
I don't have them. I don't have.
Oh, you don't have them? Okay.
Oh no.
I'm
Oh, that's
sorry.
fine. We'll just pretend like you did. You can just say mine exactly.
No, I'll just we'll make up Alex's as we go. We'll tell you, listener,
Alex's
what they
is
were.
whatever your heart, dear listener, desires it to be.
So what were your targets destroyed? How many targets did you destroy?
I got an A with 1,271.
Oh, I also got an A, but 1,236. Alex, impressively, 2,000, beating us both.
Alex
Amazing.
impressively quad nines.
Quad 9 killed 10,000 enemies.
He spent a lot of time.
Somehow still only an A rank.
He spent a lot of time in that one hallway.
I was in that warehouse for a long time.
Accuracy rating, I got a gentleman C with 43% accuracy.
46 was a B.
Nice. Okay.
That's where the cutoff
All
is.
I wasn't trying to impress anyone, but okay, Curtis.
Alex had 69 accuracy. Incredible.
Amazing. Dedication to the craft. Yeah, I got a D with the damage sustained again. It was 183,476.
119,759 is a C.
I wonder if that's because your HP was lower.
Yeah, I just
Or
couldn't.
if
I just
because
couldn't
I
stand
am
it.
much fucking worse than I think it's probably that I was much worse. I was fucking terrible.
We'll
at this
see
game.
when we get to times KO'd.
What was the one we just talked about? Damage sustained.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, what was your score?
Mine was a C at 119.
I got a D. Yeah.
If you were like Alex and were able to complete the game hitless.
105, 300 or less. That's a B.
Okay.
So that's the crossover.
Okay.
Wow. How many crits you
critical hits 449 B.
Damn, I got 349, so I had a C. Did you have a B or an A?
I did. It was a B. Yeah.
Okay. Kill
every
chains.
shot Alex fired was critical, so you got an S on that one.
That's why we call him Alex Critical.
That's right.
What was your kill chains?
802.
Yes, I had 831, so I had an S as well.
Delicious.
Yes.
I used 226 items, getting me a B.
267 C.
I thought for a second I thought you said like one more than I said, and I was like, God damn it!
No. I used a lot more items, and it was I got a C out of it.
So like magic cast is definitely the more the better.
Yeah,
It seems like
it's the opposite of items used.
I had 115, and it was an S, so I guess it's not that harsh.
Oh wow!
'Cause I didn't
had
cast that much.
249 and also had an S.
Yeah, 103 is that minimum for S.
Mako collected 87% A.
Nice. I got 81% also an A. So I
It was
guess
all-
90 and above would
It was
be
all
an
that
S.
Nero, that Azul fight.
Yeah.
That's where that extra 6% came from. All right, Carl. Times KO'd
I had an A because I got I got KO'd 5 times.
8 times.
Damn.
Fucking at least 5 of them had to be on that goddamn elevator.
And the other 3 were when you were trying to farm the 100 guys.
Oh my god, that's right. Well, that's also an A.
But yeah, 11 hours, 2 minutes, and 26 seconds is my PB.
12 hours, 35 minutes.
Nice.
So in order to get an S ranking, you gotta do it in less than 6.5 hours. About.
Yeah, seems doable. Especially if you skip the cutscenes. I feel like there's a lot of playtime.
I wasted a lot of time just like doing research and video capturing Ketchi to make a little emote out of it.
That's amazing that you did all that research and video capturing and still were able to complete the game in 4 hours and 20 minutes, Alex. I think that's really incredible.
But yeah, that's it for the gameplay. Now we just get the ending cutscenes.
Ending cutscenes. All right. What the hell happens in this game afterwards?
Oh yeah, what happens here?
Well, Omega turns to stone? Ash?
It looks like he's turned to ice or something.
Yeah.
But we think that's it. Like, oh no, he's crumbling. He's turning into like...
It looks like he's turning into fireflies.
Right. Or well, at first it looks like he's just turning into fucking dirt. But then he does explode into like even more energy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like basically after he like petrifies, the petrified wings explode open and they're like just made of life stream now, right?
Yeah, because like the tips of the wings are kind of glowing green like Mako, and then once it kind of hits that, they furl out. They unfurl, I guess, out.
This is very Sin-like, where they kind of unfurl almost like a sped up like time lapse of a flower blooming. It's very cool. It's huge.
It's real cool.
It makes you believe that these things could maybe lift it.
Perhaps through space.
Yeah, I'm wondering if if this whole its whole mission is to like take the life stream and move somewhere else. Like if you kill it, like that's not quite enough.
Oh yeah, maybe.
But yeah, those wings start flapping.
Them wings start a flapping, and it starts raising up off the ground.
Tails do be slapping.
He is very much of the mindset that this shit has sucked and it's time to hit da bricks.
Yeah, Omega is hitting to bricks. And like
the great bricks in the sky.
If Omega is supposed to take all life out into the stars, and it looks like that's what it's doing, because we get a shot of Reeves saying like, Omega is ascending, but that means... And so like, the implication is that like, yeah, we beat Weiss, but that didn't stop Omega. Omega is still going on its magical journey, right?
Yeah.
But
he's like, you just proved me right by debating me.
Yeah.
I can't believe we fucking platformed Weiss, dude. Oh my god.
But he clearly like is leaving a lot of life behind, right?
No. So I think that the way when they say life, and the way that Omega works is, and with Deep Ground's plans as well, was Omega only comes at the very end of like an extinction event where everyone is dead and the life stream is like it's nothing but life stream. So Omega comes, absorbs all of the life stream from the planet in the same way that like Sephiroth was kind of trying to do, and just flies off, thus like just destroying the planet and taking off. So like,
oh yeah,
Deep Ground tricked Omega into thinking that there was an extinction event so that it would be reawakened.
Right, that's
and
right.
now it's still proceeding forward with the plan, which is
because
like,
it thinks
all the life
that everything's dead, right?
Like all the life stream. So humans are still alive, but the ones who are alive don't really outweigh, I guess, the life stream in the same way.
I was thinking, I would imagine that it would like mop up and then take all of it, but I guess that it has been tricked. Like it's just doing its thing.
Thanks, Hojo.
Even though it's not right.
Yeah, I don't think for any like ideological reasons, you know. Just it's pretty interesting that.
But we need that life stream.
Yeah.
Plant will wither and die, as we've saw in the
in that cool cutscene.
The cutscene when we were on the Highwind 2.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
The Shara.
Yeah.
The Shara.
So Reeves bothered by it. He says, oh shit, Omega's ascending, so like that means, shit's fucked.
Yeah,
Luckily,
shit's fucked.
our boy Vincent Chaos goes fucking Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
And bursts with a bunch of energy and just kind of flies after Omega.
Yeah, and he flies ahead of Omega out into like space.
This is real Iron Man, not Iron Man, Iron
Giant, yeah.
Where Shulk says, "You are not a gun. You are who you choose to be."
And Vincent's like, "I choose to be a gun."
Vincent does the Wreck-It Ralph, where he dives back in toward the planet with one arm outstretched, right?
Oh yeah, he fucking he's letting off like cool, just like lightning energy.
Yeah,
it's super cool.
I will say the the imagery of when Vincent is in the air or fucking like low space or whatever, coming back, because he's ahead of Omega now. Like Omega is in fact blasting off into space. When we actually see Omega coming up through the atmosphere, it's incredibly, it's like intimidating. It's a bunch of like energy with like air moving around it and getting out of the way of it. It's wild looking.
Why do these cutscenes look better than Advent Children?
Yeah,
I guess
that's the power of the PS2, baby.
Yeah, I guess it's just a video, so they can do that.
I mean, it came out like a year later, so I feel like
yeah, they already had all the models.
Yeah, I'm just like, this stuff just looks a lot more colorful and interesting. A lot of the fights I saw in Advent Children.
Yeah, that's fair.
In my opinion.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But Vincent busts through and just like blasts off.
Bustin' does make him feel good, and Omega is no more, and we kind of just see the rest of our homies down on the surface.
Oh my god, that giant shockwave that just completely like, we'd see like a quick shot of the Earth, or I guess the home planet, if it is the Earth.
Yeah, we see Earth or whatever with like a big Dragon Ball Z explosion taking up a good portion of it.
Classic.
Thankfully, it's just live stream juice, I'm guessing, not like explosive energy.
Although I feel like at the end with Holy, and there was all that live stream energy at the end of Final Fantasy VII, that fucked a lot of shit up, as we learned in Advent Children.
Yeah.
I thought that was just from all the fucking meteor hurricanes and shit.
Yeah, it could have been that. I forget.
It doesn't matter. Shit's stupid.
I feel like they did a thing where they were like, Holy was actually part of it caused issues for people. Who knows? Who has the time? We'll get to Advent Children properly someday, probably.
But we see a cool like shot from the ground of Midgar, and the sky, which was glowing just this sickly green, now just is fading until like maybe an aftershock. You see the atmosphere splitting open, and there's just the stars, the sky is turning black again.
It's the opposite of a Ken Burns effect. Is that what the Ken Burns is?
Ken Burns is a slow pan.
Oh, okay, then it's not that. It's instead it is the end of Looney Tunes when it zooms in as a circle. Oh my god.
Shelk, not now.
Yeah, Shelk is doing a neural net dive into my Apple Watch trying to tell me what the Ken Burns effect is. Here, dipshit, listen. She's getting sick of me.
It's just a Star Wars transition.
Yeah. But it's super cool because now I think they're standing near Midgar, right?
Yeah, they're all still like
what was once Midgar, presumably, and there's just nothing but stars in the sky. Like as this dissipates, they can see stars, which I feel like is probably a thing that Midgard didn't really get to do all that often. Yeah,
and there's it's kind of a neat little ending here because there's not a lot to it. It's very triumphant because, like we said, like the sickly green glow is gone. You can see the stars again. The music's indicating that like it's all over. Vincent has defeated chaos, but Vincent doesn't come back down, and we see Yuffie like looking into the space, like into the sky, presumably looking for Vincent, but he never arrives.
And now we start seeing a bunch of the live stream starting to like get pulled back towards the planet.
And as the camera starts to like look around to like maybe he's over here, maybe he's up in the sky still, the credits just start rolling over top of the screen. Like this is the end of it, right? So like I think this is done very well.
Executive producer Dick Wolf, it says.
That's right.
And the second gag song of the soundtrack, Redemption, starts playing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a nice slow burn.
We see some like
slow Ken burn.
It looks like Pyreflies, but they're purple or whatever, which like Vincent's like energy color, kind of like
maybe chaos has also been dissipated in all this.
Maybe that's kind of what I was thinking. And we see some like energy like that falling down toward the ground. And right before the screen goes to black to show the rest of the credits, we see the chain that's on Vincent's Cerberus gun just hooked on a piece, like
his cell phone
a random
charm.
piece of metal. Yeah, we see his little cell phone charm just like snagged on a random piece of metal sticking out of the wreckage, right? And that's the last thing we see before the screen goes black.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Vincent.
Rip
R.I.P.
to a real
everyone.
one.
I like that.
That's great. It's a great way to end it.
Really, really cool.
It's very quick.
It's very quick, yeah.
I kind of appreciate like, and it's done. Like I said, it's a big climax.
Yeah, it's like 20 seconds in between chaos explode or Omega exploding and going to black. Yeah.
And so then we read through the credits one by one.
Yeah, so we're going to say theme song by Gact, of course. As you know, a lot of people worked very hard on this game.
Yeah, sorry,
we're
Frank
gonna-
Sinatra.
Yeah, battle programmer Yusuke Matsui. But yeah, no, it goes through the whole. I think it's the whole credits crawl, right? And then we get finally the.
Go to Moby Games if you want to know the whole list.
Everyone has to, for this episode's homework, you have to read through every name.
That's right.
We're gonna quiz
And
you.
also you have to read on the disc where it says that we broke the law by Twitch streaming it.
Voice actors.
I do like that there was one point in the there was a Project G
Ooh,
in
what is
the
that?
that was like credited, and G is credited as Gact, and I'm just like, but there's a character named G.
Well, we hear some G voice acting here in a second.
Yeah, depending on if you did something correctly.
Yeah.
At the end of the credits, it fades back up, and we still see like Midgard kind of just showered in live stream
Yeah.
rain,
Yeah.
and we zoom down, and we actually see the pod that Shalua was in.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm actually kind of like bummed to like wait.
Yeah. Shalua dead.
Everyone just forgot about her. Sid's like, oh yeah, the Highwind got lost. Like, oh yeah, my sister is fine, right? You got her? Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, like they did have their like last message with each other, right? Where Shalua was like, "Yo, I'm moving on now,"
Yeah.
and Shell asked her not to do it. Yeah.
That's true.
So yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Shalua's dead, right?
Yeah. Shalua's dead as shit.
That sucks, man. Fuck.
It's really a bummer. Yeah, like there's just like her cracked open pod, and it's just a quick close up of her face as
Yeah.
some live stream kind of drifts past her.
Yeah.
And then I think we see like a quick little time jump.
Yeah. A little time jump. We hear.
Yeah, we see some beautiful flowers.
Yeah, we see Midgar being like a nice, pristine like shot of Midgar by the ocean.
2,000 years later.
Yeah, well, yeah. It feels
This is
like
the same
it.
shot as I think as the end of Final Fantasy VII, where we see Red
It's
13.
similar.
It's not as grown over like as it has
Yeah,
been 2,000
Well,
years.
yeah, I mean it's not at that time frame, but I think
Yeah,
like
yeah.
POV wise, I think it's supposed to be
Yeah,
the same,
yeah.
the same cliff.
Yeah,
Fucking seagulls everywhere.
but we hear a voiceover from Shulk, and then Shulk kind of narrates the end of the game, right? She
Mhm.
says, "Vincent, it has almost been a week since that day. So it's only 1 week later. The live stream has returned to the planet and has begun to flow normally once again." And then we see her in Seventh Heaven or wherever like Tifa's new bar is, right? In Edge.
Yeah, Seventh Heaven in Edge. This is the one that's in Advent Children.
And like it looks real cozy. I was like, yo, I would go here. This looks like a nice
It looks
little cafe.
cozy, but it also looks like it doesn't have as much soul as the original Seventh Heaven.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I mean? Like it's restaurant impossible.
This is like when they tear down your favorite bar and replace it with some gentrified like
Exactly.
kind of
That was
quote unquote Irish pub, and there's just like cafe art all over the walls, and they got it like
Yeah.
at like Crate and Barrel.
Yeah, it reminds me of back in the day, me and Creepy Dave from I shouldn't call him Creepy Dave. That's kind of, I guess, only like his internet handle. I'm just gonna call him Dave. Dave from Daycare Dittos.
Daycare Dave.
He lived in Patterson, New Jersey, and I would always go and hang out there. And there was this place called Paul's that was a really charming, just like crappy dive bar. They had Long Island iced teas that were blue and stuff, and that was like the place that my friends always went to. And it ended up on Restaurant Impossible, and like I went there after the fact with them, and it like kind of had the same vibe because it was still the same people running it and stuff, but it was like kind of lost its soul a little bit, and like
Yeah.
you could tell that like it probably looked good when they were filming it and everything, but everything was clearly just like painted over and kind of shitty, and just like you're like, well, it doesn't have the same charm now, and now it just looks like gentrified bullshit.
Yeah, I feel that.
Tifa has an excuse though because her bar was literally destroyed
Yeah,
by a plate
yeah.
falling onto it, so it's fine.
But she's there.
She's enjoying a nice cuppa, and is I'm assuming just like, oh wait, it's revealed that she's writing a text basically to Vincent.
Yeah, she's writing him like an SMS message. Yeah.
It's like, dear Vince, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling.
But yeah, like so Shulk is talking. So do my last word. I don't know how far you got into this, Curtis.
I said the live stream has returned to the planet once again. And she says, I have started to fill the 10-year hole in my life, or at least started to try. And like, again, I like that that's, to me, that's like the main thing of this game is that Shulk and Vincent both have these big gaps in their life where they didn't get to live. And so I like that they brought that up and actually said that at the end. I was like, thematic. That's a thing. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I realize I'm not alone, I think I may be a little stronger than I was before.
Yeah.
And then we see kind of like a pan over on the other side of I guess it's a cafe at this point. It's almost not a bar anymore. But we see Yuffie is like, hey, have you heard from Cloud? And Tifa's like, I haven't heard it. He hasn't found anything. He's like, ain't gonna make this easy for us, is he? So I think that, like, are they still like looking for Vincent at this point?
Probably, yeah. Which, like, as we'll see in a second, the first fucking place they should have gone.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. So
there's two places you should go to first when Vincent goes missing.
Yeah.
In the same order. You could not be faulted for going to either. 1, the coffin in the Shinra Mansion basement.
Yeah.
2, where he fucking is, which is in like the Lucrezia crystal cave.
Hey, it's a long walk there. I'm like from Midgar.
Yeah, true.
All the way
They're like, fuck, we gotta breed chocobos again to get there.
Shulk says, Vincent, do you remember the last words we exchanged? Do you remember our promise or your promise to Lucrezia? Go and tell her how you feel. Tell her what is truly in your heart. I know that you will probably never see this, but I have to try. I have to believe. And she sets her phone down, and then we finally see Red 13. The game's good now.
Yeah, what's Red up to?
He's just sitting outside 7th Heaven.
He was gonna go
chill.
and help, but he was like laying in a sunbeam, and he felt really good, so he's like, I'll just...
Yeah. I'll just take it here.
Him and Shulk have the same colored hair, kind of.
Yeah, she sits down beside him or whatever.
I do like that Shulk's phone is pretty much just the what the fuck brand was it? It was the Envy. It was like the Envy 3.
I don't remember that.
It was past the Sidekick, but it was like a...
Oh, yeah.
It was like a phone on its face, so you could use it like a phone with like the T9 texting, and then you can open it up and it has like a full QWERTY keyboard on it.
Oh yeah,
I had that in like senior year of high school, and I fucking loved it.
It's a weird looking phone. It looks like it has a card reader built into it, like she can take transactions.
Yeah.
Or maybe she can add minutes to it. Maybe it's a burner phone. She can add minutes with a credit card.
But yeah, the scene.
We are now back in the crystal, right?
Yeah, exactly. It changes to the crystal cave. And of course, Vincent is there. And Lucrezia's in the
Are we to assume that Lucrezia like preserved herself in this thing or something?
Man, it doesn't answer that question at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably some shit in one of those huge encyclopedias.
It's like when Sephiroth was in his crystal.
Yeah,
different.
Who knows? I mean, I'm sure there's extended universe fiction somewhere that explains how she got in the preservative crystal or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vincent's cool. He's just like, Lucrezia, everything's all right now. Omega and Chaos have returned to the planet. So yeah, I guess that means Chaos is out of him.
Yeah. Which is, I like that ending for Vincent.
Yeah, it's nice for Vincent
exciting.
and for Lucrezia.
Yeah.
He's still kind of talking to her. He says, "Thank you. It was you. You were the reason I survived," which is true.
He says, "I'm not a perfect person."
And we see him smile for the first time. I don't even have to use an app for it.
Yeah. God, that, yeah. But yeah, we see Vincent smile we see his whole face, and he kind of like smirks and walks away.
He has a little smirk, he leaves.
He cries a single tear.
Oh, he doesn't. Lucrezia does.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. You're right.
Vincent, meanwhile, cries many tears because he's a soft boy.
That's right.
And we love him for that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice that when we see his tear, it was actually like they tastefully made it so that the surface that we're looking at is reflecting him walking away.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that he was there. I'm like, it's a cool little director's choice.
And she just says, "When you walk away,
you don't hear me say,
please, oh baby, don't go." That song's so fucking good.
But he emerges to the surface out of his little sad hole, and it's funny. I was actually thinking of this should be like Vincent just being like in a polo, like in that episode of Metalocalypse where they're all like going to therapy or whatever, and they're all like wearing like the band stickers and shit. They're all just wearing like polos and like button-up shirts and khakis.
It's kind of cool.
Awesome.
They introduce an extended universe here because Vincent walks outside and sees Kyrie from Kingdom Hearts. No, sees Shulk wearing a normal people clothes. I guess.
Shulk's wearing normal clothes. Which is cool. I like her outfits.
I really liked that a lot. It definitely does make her look like Kyrie.
It does, yeah.
The pink shirt. It's a similar kind of design. Good job, Nomura.
She's 19, though. I don't know. Again, I just don't like, is she just going to be forever? Like,
yeah, I'm wondering, too. I'm wondering, I guess, maybe Reeve did some shit to reverse the fact that she needs, like, Mako.
I mean, she has, like, a little Mako patch. Like
it's like a nicotine patch.
Yeah, or it could be, like an insulin pump or something, maybe.
That's true.
Yeah. So I don't know if she still has to rely on that now if she'll start aging or not, but who knows?
We'll never know. Yeah, will Vincent start?
We're gonna have to leave that for Dirge of Cerberus 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Which honestly fucking might still happen.
Yeah, at this point.
Here's how Dirge of Cerberus 2 can still win.
It would be. I tell you what. Not that I think this will happen, but since they are putting the Dirge of Cerberus lore in the FF7 remake now, it would be the most insane unhinged shit of all time to like have FF7 remake 3 and you just kill Sephiroth. And then, like, there's an episode 4, and, like, G is the main bad guy, or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit.
Honestly, I would be here for that.
I'd be here for that. Yeah, no.
After playing Dirge of Cerberus, I literally do think that it's made me look forward to Final Fantasy VII Remake, like,
yeah,
future
same.
games coming
Yeah.
out, because I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'll take more of this.
This game actually has made me excited to play as Vincent in remake at least.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Just like,
much so.
ooh, that'll be kind of fun to play in that system, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Shelk says right before the end of the game, she says, everybody's waiting, Vincent Valentine. I don't know why they made me come up here and get you. Not that I mind, though.
That's a good question. What are they waiting on him for? Just let him do his thing.
Yeah, let
Well,
him
I get,
fucking, he
they're
just-
worried about him. I understand.
There's no ceremony or anything happening. Like, hey, dude,
He has to
like,
get his
the big,
medal of Yavin.
I feel like he would hate
I know
a
it's Star
ceremony,
Wars
though.
thing. Sorry.
Yeah, not that I mind though.
Yeah, not that I mind.
Very
though.
good.
And that's the last thing said.
We see another smiley Vincent shot, and and the camera pans up and we see the moon, but not just the moon. We see the remnants.
Yeah, Omega
is just in complete shards, just floating in the atmosphere now.
I like
sick.
the idea that like he blew up Omega, who is close enough to the surface to be able to see like the remaining pieces of Omega, but also it's just caught in Earth's orbit now. So it's just gonna go around forever.
Maybe it's only been a week.
Yeah, I feel like it'll either stay there forever or it will have horrible consequences.
It
in a little
rains
bit
down
when it
like a
finally
freaking
returns to
meteor.
the atmosphere. Yeah, it's like we're finally put the finishing touches on Edge. It is now as fully functional as the city as Midgar once was. Oh no!
So
If we had collected all the G
the
reports.
G reports. I know
The
we haven't
G
even read
reports.
any of the G reports. So
Yeah, actually, let's read those.
Yeah, let's go through 'em.
Yeah.
Since that is relevant to this. Yeah, we would normally see the end, but we don't because we collected all our G reports, right?
Yeah, we all did
I
our
didn't.
homework. We're definitely not looking off of any kind of cheating website.
Oh, you know what? Before we get to the G report, I don't think we need to read all of the Omega reports or anything like
I
that.
think the Omega, the Omega reports kind of just recap literally everything that we've known.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing I really like I was gonna bring up in those at all is that at the end of them, they just theorize that okay, so what chaos is like an anti-life stream that the planet put there in that cave. Like chaos comes from that cave, that crystal cave, to just be like it just needs to be a check and balance just in case the Omega thing gets out of hand.
Yeah.
That's the only part of that I thought was worth kind of going over.
Yeah, by controlling chaos with the proto-materia, the planet was also able to succeed in preventing the advent of Omega until, obviously, Deep Crown.
Advent.
So, like, yeah, I think it's basically kind of says that, like, chaos was supposed to be the one to usher in the event, the cataclysmic event that would take the live stream and cause Omega to rise. Like, basically, chaos would destroy the world and Omega would be the salvation force. So it's cool that with Deep Ground and the story of this game, that was completely inverted.
Yeah. So G. The first thing you have to know about G is that it's gacked. It's just gacked. He's got his voice.
Oh, is that Gak's voice? Yeah, that
We're
makes
talking about the
sense.
cutscene now?
Not yet. We're talking about. I'll talk about the reports, but like,
Yeah, they're mostly kind of just filling in like this thing about. I think this is just a tie-in for like. I'm not sure if we really need to cover it because it's not really relevant to the plot of Dirge of Cerberus. It's just kind of I think
It's a cool nod.
it feels like they were kind of plugging this in to kind of get people interested in Crisis Core, which does center around this character G, which is short for Genesis.
right. So there's 3 G reports, and the thing is like, so I haven't played Crisis Core. I haven't really looked into it before Crisis. So if you've only played 7 and then this, I think it's kind of neat. It almost serves as like this like surprise. There was something happening in the background the whole time, and you didn't even know it.
Again.
Yeah.
So like a little Easter egg, I guess. And there's 3 reports. The first one is just kind of mentions who G is, right? It's like, okay, so there's this thing called Soldier. It's the most powerful soldiers around, right? And there's 2 super soldiers within it. One of them is S, in quotes, and like, okay,
The infamous S.
the infamous S. So like, all right, Sephiroth, I get it.
A symbol of strength and destruction.
Of course, they're talking about Cloud Strife.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah. And the other one, it says, the other remains is shrouded in an eldritch veil of shadows. All records of this man's existence have been deleted, the only remnant of his legacy being the lone letter G. And so there's, somebody as strong as Sephiroth's out there.
Yeah.
Sephiroth, there's made another one.
They made another one.
And then the second report says, G, we can only begin to imagine who this enigmatic warrior might be. There are rumors that he is a biochemically constructed prototype for the soldier who become S. However, there are no documents to support these claims. In fact, there's little information on G that has existed made nothing but fabrication. So
Total
again,
fabrication.
Mystery.
Yeah.
We made it up.
We gotcha.
It's a fake. The only thing that may give insight to this mystery is a lone personnel record, which indicates that several years ago, a soldier first class was assigned a top-secret mission to pursue the target referred to only as G. Unfortunately, any further data has been lost or destroyed. So again...
Yeah. Soldier first class went to go and take down G. Unfortunately, there's no record of that mission.
Yeah.
That's obviously the tie into Crisis Core, right?
Well, except for this record that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, exactly.
All these records just refer to other records.
Yeah.
But then
it's
we
like
get-
when you go through like older, you have to go in the Wayback Machine because a lot of the links in the old GameFAQs things lead to dead GeoCities sites and stuff.
That's what G stands for.
GeoCities.
The last
so
one is
obviously-
the most interesting, I think, though.
Yes.
Where it says, G slumbers below Midgar, silently abiding his awakening. Or so tell the stories of the vagrants who dwell in the slums of the mephitic metropolis. However,
Talking about Deep Ground?
I think so, yeah. Could there exist some truth behind these rumors? Being one of the few who is involved in their construction, I know all too well the vast caverns that sprawl beneath the city streets. Is this written by Reeve? And I don't know. Anyway, this will more than likely be my final entry. The last fragment of data I have uncovered reads as follows. Soldiers branded with epithets of color. These are the hellspawn of G. And so I think that means the Sphiets.
The
Like the
Sphiets.
reason why they have all these crazy abilities is because like they've been genetically engineered using G.
G is the big boss of this world, and like everyone else is like, we need to clone him. And
Yeah.
use his, like, there's a super soldier we're obsessed with,
Yeah,
and we
I
need
mean,
to like replicate his abilities.
I guess in the same way that the villains in Advent Children are like Sephiroth clones or some shit. Like they're, you know what I mean? Like they were like
Yeah.
offshoots of Sephiroth and kind of similar. It's the same sort of thing with Genesis and the Sphiets. You know,
Yeah.
they're just kind of offshoots of his.
I mean, I kind of get like what they're going
Although
for.
I guess it's more so like you were saying with like that, because Shulk, we know Shulk's origin.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fucking Final Fantasy VII, dude.
she was never really a Sphiet to begin with,
Yeah.
I think, right?
Oh yeah, true. Well, yeah, she doesn't have a color name, does she?
Not really. I mean, it's we actually shout out to Shademp again. We were actually talking about this. The wiki says it's an Urdu name for orange.
It would make sense. I mean,
Interesting.
her eyes always turn orange when she does anything, so.
Yeah.
The closest match could be the Finnish word shelkea, which means clear, because that actually makes sense because she is
yeah.
transparent
That's fair.
as well.
That's a good name for her.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But
But if we collected all three of those,
Yes.
we get an additional cutscene.
that's right.
It's kind of like a post-credit thing. Before that was everywhere.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, the Marvel movies kind of really made that a thing.
Marvel ripped off FF7
yeah.
Dirge of Cerberus.
So yeah, we see a kind of, once again, like from below Midgar pan down, assumingly where like Omega was defeated, and we
Yeah,
see
and
like
Weiss fell into the floor at the end of our fight with him, so it kind of
Yeah.
just shows like where he's ended up.
he's just like, yeah, he's just in a little underground just lake or something.
Yeah.
Like little cavern.
He's on just like a little island in the middle of the water, and notably there's like two swords kind of just jutting out of the ground near him.
Yeah.
But there's a huge burst of like energy that kind of starts culminating in a bunch of like electricity is kind of flowing all around, and it I guess
It
culminates.
feels like it comes from him.
Oh yeah, and there's just a giant like orb that's kind of sitting there. It's like a blue orb that starts kind of glowing orange.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we see a quick shot of a human eye, not a CG human eye, an actual live action human eye awakening.
Oh, is it?
Damn, I didn't even
Yeah.
notice that.
I didn't. Yeah. That's awesome.
But there's you see some of the stalactites falling from the sky or from the roof as this energy is building up, and it kind of like bursts out, and then we kind of see a cloaked or like a cool ass like leather kind of outfitted fella just kind of falls onto the ground. Strikes like a superhero pose, like on his knees with the fist in the ground.
I do like that this guy is like the Eldritch secret fucking like dude behind it all, but also he's just got a real nice fashion sense too. He's also got like super nice hair, and he's just like really pretty.
This is visual K as fuck.
Yeah, visual K as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We already said that this is literally Gacked live action.
Yeah, it's just Gacked.
Yeah.
And this whole character is straight up like, I think even if you look up the cover art for the single he released for the 2 songs he did, he's wearing this outfit, which is actually red.
That's awesome.
It's like a red leather, but the scene is mostly just blue and white because of just the lighting.
Yeah, he's walking on the water. It's kind of uncertain if it's like deep water and he's walking on the water. Probably
Jesus-y shit.
Some Jesus-y shit, but it could also just be very shallow, water.
His name is Genesis.
Yeah. His real name is Peter Gabriel.
That's the G stands for, right?
But yeah, he walks up to Weiss's corpse and picks it up and is holding him.
Yeah. And he says to him, "It is not yet time for slumber. We have still much work to do."
His voice is wild.
Oh my god, his English voice is so fucking wild. But anyway,
it is not time yet for slumber.
He's like a fucking Dracula. It is not yet time for slumber. We still have much work to do, my brother.
Everyone's Weiss's brother.
And then, importantly, he sprouts one singular wing on the opposite shoulder of Sephiroth.
Yeah.
It's a black wing.
Oh my gosh.
The other one-winged angel, Gacked.
Yeah. Which, like, okay, I'll be honest with you. I thought that was kind of cool that, they call Sephiroth the one-wing angel, and he has the one, like, extra wing. And then, like, boom, G has the other one. That's cool.
Yeah. That's super cool. I would like to see them do a fusion dance.
He blasts off.
He blasts off like fucking Team Rocket.
Yeah.
The animation for him blasting off is a little strange because you see there's like a fraction of a second where it kind of delays, because I feel like when your wing goes down, equal force should push him up, but he pushes down and then he goes up.
I think it's more of an aesthetic wing,
Yeah.
not so much for functionality.
And since it's his left wing, he can only make right turns.
That's right.
He's just spiraling up like a...
Yeah, he flies up towards the very full bright moon. Which is interesting because I guess this is directly after the Genesis thing and not like the week later. Like this isn't after the events with Shulk and
It could be like a month later, I guess.
True.
Yeah, who knows? Like,
we get back to the next one.
I would like to think our party would try and go and find the body of Weiss and take care of it, but at the same time, it took them a fucking week to find Vincent in his
in the one
haunt.
place where he would be.
Yeah. But yeah, we see some feathers kind of fall, some black feathers fall towards the camera, and that's it.
We see the end.
The end.
That's not only the end of Dirge of Cerberus. That is the end of the FF7 compilation. Like that is the last.
Chronologically,
Like chronologically, that's the last thing to happen in Final Fantasy VII.
Which is interesting and raises the question, like maybe they were planning on doing more with it and then never did. I mean, obviously they did do more with Final Fantasy VII when we're speaking in 2022, but I'm wondering if they were like, okay, we're going to do more with these characters and have, Genesis. We're going to have him be the next big bad guy.
Right.
Which, I mean, they might still be fucking doing. Like the jury's still out on it.
We got Ever Crisis, which is supposed to kind of like be a Cliff Notes version of like the entire like FF7 timeline.
Right.
So they will probably bring all this stuff back. Yeah,
like Genesis is probably going to be in Final Fantasy VII Remake. They've introduced Weiss and stuff. Like I remember when they were kind of showing some of the stuff for, I guess, intermission or integrate or whatever. A lot of people
Integrate is the name of the entire like FF7 Plus intermission package, which is really confusing. Intermission is
it's also confusing
DLC.
Just getting that shit. It's like you have a free copy because you bought this version of it, and then like I don't even like people will be like starting to try and play it now, and they're like, "Well, I have a free copy, but I don't know how to get it." And I'm like, I went through this exact same thing, and I could not tell you what I did to get the free version because it's so fucking confusing.
I think it's kind of cool in a way that. So, like, obviously, Tetsuya Nomura is directing the FF7 remake. Like, he's the director of it. And he obviously worked on FF7 and Dirge of Cerberus as well. And I think that's kind of cool to be like, you were a large part of the development team in 1997, and then
He developed the aesthetic, and he just kind of became like the ringleader.
yeah, and then 26 years later, you get to work on the same project again, but this time you're directing it
shots.
like it's your machine. And so that's kind of interesting.
The even more interesting thing about that too is I think I was reading interviews, and I might have talked about this at some point on the podcast, but I think they didn't really tell Nomura that he was going to be the main director of it, because they didn't want him to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, they didn't want him to like be afraid to do that. So they were kind of just like giving him more and more of the project piece by piece and be like, hey, can you work on this, Nomura? Like, can you take a look at this? And then eventually they were just like, yeah, by the way, you're just the director. Like, this is your thing now. And he's like, oh shit. Like, if I understand correctly, that's something that I read a while ago. I don't have a source for it.
I think it's cool that, obviously he wasn't in charge of a lot of the original FF7. Like, there were things that weren't on his responsibilities, but increasingly as FF7 and the compilation went on, he became increasingly involved with all of those things. So it's kind of neat to be like, all right, well, you had such a hand in making all of these, put it together as you see fit now. And so we're getting like the intermission and stuff like that. And I think that's actually kind of cool.
I do think it's cool. This game really has made me more excited about, what the future holds for Final Fantasy VII, because like at the time, even though I liked this game when I played it at first, I never really had too much affection for it the way that I do with the original.
Yeah. Right.
But I'm kind of just like, you know what? Give me more Weiss. Give me more of that bullshit. Make it campy,
Yeah.
It's all,
bring it on. I'm down for it.
now that we're finished the Dirge, like I am feeling like, even though like Final Fantasy VII is a game, it feels more like a book because of like how much of your brain has to kind of fill in the gaps, like because it's mostly very text based.
Yeah.
So I'm like, always wondering like how much, like when you bring something like that and flesh it out, so like to a point where everything is like they can literally show you all the details of everything that's happening. If that like ruins people's expectations and things, like, oh no, they adapted it wrong. That's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can never really, and even if you have the most polished video game of all time, it doesn't matter. There's still going to be things that when it was in development had to change or just ended up changing, or, it's never going to be like, it's never the work of just one singular person. Unless it's Stardew Valley, which is a perfect game and everyone should play it. It's never the work of a single person.
Unless you want to do that one mod that adds Vincent as your dog. Then you can improve it even better.
But I forgot about that. Yeah, so it's in the Final Fantasy VII canon.
Where does Stardew Valley fall in the timeline?
Like video games are an ever-changing thing. Even, what we interpret as Final Fantasy VII, like the original, our interpretation of it could be completely different than what the developers intended or whatever. And that's what makes this kind of shit so fun, just talking about it and hearing other people's perspectives. And like my whole thing with the remake, when I was kind of like feeling like let down by it and not liking it and not liking the direction it was going in, my main takeaway was like, well, this is a game that is not for me, but I think there's a lot of people that this is extremely for, and I'm very happy that they're going to get to experience it in that way, because I don't really need that. You know what I mean? Like, I can just go back and play the original and be super happy with it.
FF7
so I wasn't like,
is
they're
perfect,
ruining it. I was like, I was just like, not really for me, but I'm glad it's making other people happy.
It's the Star Wars of like JRPGs, where everyone's like, this is like the first one, and then all the spin-offs are like a different kind of component of that, and in every single one of those like spin-offs is going to be everyone's favorite version of that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like oh, this is like the more JRPG version, this is like the more fighty version, this is like the shooting
Guys is the more fighty version, clearly. Or Smash Brothers now, I guess. Add G to Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Yo, fucking add Jack and just have him fucking just like turn Kirby into Crystal and mix Smash him.
Yeah, that would be his final smash or whatever. He just grabs somebody and then turns them into Crystal. Game.
Do you guys have anything else to say about Dirge of Cerberus?
Yeah, what are our final thoughts about Dirge of Cerberus?
Game good.
Game good, actually.
Game good, fun, weird, fucking mechanically doesn't hold up super well, but it's not unplayable, and it's got weird
it could be so much worse.
It could be so much worse. It could be a lot better.
But I think playing it the way we did helped a lot, because I feel like if you just plowed through the entire thing, it can feel really like maybe a real slog.
Mm-hmm.
A slog and short, I guess.
At the same
well,
time.
perhaps. Like somehow, yeah.
Because it throws a lot at you to has you kind of connect a lot of dots on your own. Also, like the types of gameplay don't vary too much until the very like last quarter of the game. I feel like it can feel real boring for a while.
Yeah.
But I think because we were breaking up and kind of focusing more on the story of it, it helped a lot. I appreciate it a lot. And I think it was really kind of a fun, strange little thing. And also, I love to see these characters that were optional kind of get their own own little game to kind of thrive in, because they were not in any of the cutscenes of the original game.
I like that, kind of carrying off what you're saying there, it was fun playing it the way that we did over so much time, because it really gave every area felt like a big thing instead of just a small piece on the way to the next one. So when I'm thinking back about the earlier stages, I'm like, wow, it really was a different time. Like, the early stages are really different than the later stages.
You just start in calm, and then like before you know it, we're like, I mean,
we're in the sewers,
and then like the haunted house level, you got the sewer level, you got the cool like reactor level. We're revisiting.
We're in the edge. We're fighting in the town and stuff. Yeah,
like
a lot happened. You know what I mean? For a short game.
I feel like it was weirdly ambitious for like, I mean, if you go back and play it now, you might be like, this was ambitious, but like, I mean, it's historically
they're working on 12. I think 12 came out the same year, so there was a lot of like. Yeah, I'm sure there's like a lot of like split labor and stuff, or maybe people are hopping back and forth,
and just so vastly different from any other thing in the Final Fantasy VII world. But it still kind of has a lot of the charm. The story, they obviously really put a lot of care and thought into, even though we dunked on it the whole season.
Well, there's a lot of holes, but it's fine.
Yeah, like the holes, like that could also just be that we are kind of just giving a cursory glance at this game and just being like, oh, it's dumb, whatever. Like, like there's been plenty of times this season where I was corrected or immediately found out information that was like, later on. Like, I feel like they did have a lot of love for these characters in this game, and it really shows.
I agree.
Give me the novelization that fills in on the way to a smile, Vincent.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a thing that makes a lot of the Final Fantasy series in general, like especially starting with 4, like 4 on through probably up to 15, at least up to 13, is that they're written well in the way that they have themes. They all have like an overarching kind of thing to say. Like you can take Final Fantasy games, and what makes them good as RPGs in comparison to a lot of like more generic JRPGs is that like they have something to say. All of them do, right? Like in FF7, the original one, you have this idea of like you can't ever break off of whatever course like your life is on, right? That's like the thing, is like trying to get off of where your life's going. And I think, to me, I think the theme for all of the characters, but especially, like I've said before, I think my favorite part is Vincent and Shulk, is this idea of like lost time or losing things, right? Like everybody in this game has experienced some kind of weird loss, and it hasn't been allowed to live their life the way they wanted to. Lucrezia has all that trauma that she has to deal with Vincent's father and Hojo and all that. Like, she's gotten a lot of stuff taken away from her. There's like people who are being kidnapped, who are having their shit taken away from them. And Vincent and Shulk both have an entire decade of their life that's just gone. And then like learning how to like deal with it afterwards and like be in charge of their lives again. And I thought that was really strong. And so I actually thought the plot was a lot better than I thought it was going to be before I played the game, where I was like, oh, it's just going to be dumb and edgy and like stupid. You know what I mean? But it wasn't. And I don't know. I think it's to its benefit.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys appreciate this type of game.
Yeah.
It's fun to switch it up,
It's fun to like accept like this is dumb, and I think it's okay to be dumb and enjoy it for being dumb. If
you can take something that's dumb and find like some worth in it when it like deserves the worth, like it's like that just sounds like a kind of miserable existence to be like, no, everything must be super cool and up to my standards of what is cool and stuff. Like, I love just being like, this is dumb as hell and it fucking rules. Like, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I love that type of stuff.
I think the only other thing that I can really think of is that like Lucrezia, like, what an interesting character, because I remember finishing Final Fantasy VII and being like, I want to know more about like Vincent's past. I want to know about his like sin or whatever. I want to know about like what happened with Lucrezia. I need to know more about her and stuff. Like, you get like the little tiny little pieces of it, like knowing that she's Sephiroth's mom and all of that. And I wanted to know more. And this is not at all what I expected. And at first I was like, I don't really like that characterization of her, but I really do enjoy it. I think she definitely had the best of intentions and like wanted to do right and wanted to do like what was good for the world, but kind of just, especially after the death of Gast, I think Hojo is just such a prominent force that is just like such a fucking bastard that he just like got all of her good intentions and twisted it in the worst possible way and created like a hell for her personally, you know?
Right.
And a hell for literally everyone else on the planet.
I think, you know, also like before like the worst parts of Lucrezia's story, right? I think that it does a decent job of continuing a theme from FF7 of just like science without ethics, right? Yeah. Because like we see that Lucrezia is not a bad person, right? But like she is a victim and perpetrator of science without ethics. And that like
absolutely
causes Grimoire to die, right? So like I thought that was pretty cool by running that. So
game good. So we're kind of at the end of this episode and this season. So obviously we need to talk about what game we're going to be doing next season. But before that, I do have something very, very important that I need to talk about. I'm going to take you guys back to February 1st of the year 2022.
What were you doing February 1st, 2022, Alex?
I don't know.
I can tell you what I was doing, and that was finishing up an episode of this podcast, and immediately afterwards going to Wawa down the street. And,
oh my God, it's time! I'm ready.
And ordering a hamburger, and unintentionally, I did not update everyone for weeks, not because I was like, oh, this is going to be such a good bit or whatever, but literally just because I didn't have time by the time we got to that part of the podcast.
I just want to let all the listeners know, Carl did not tell me that he was getting ready to do this, so I'm genuinely excited right now.
I forgot about it until like doing the episode. I was like, shit.
It's also worth noting I immediately went out and got one myself.
Yeah.
I went out to get one and then chickened out and got pasta instead.
Nice. I mean, that was probably a solid move.
It was good.
But I think if I remember correctly, I got the double cheeseburger, which plays into it a little bit.
You get bacon?
Here are my notes. Of course, I got the double bacon cheeseburger. Here are my notes. 1, spilling out. Looks not encouraging. Way too large. Might not be the fault of the Wawa burger. Again, I got the double cheeseburger and it was way larger than I thought. It definitely looked like it was like shitty like cafeteria
I was
food
gonna
in
say,
the worst
that's-
way. And
yeah.
I was like really worried about that. The lettuce was very concerning looking and the cheese wasn't melted. So I was like, oh boy, this is a big fucking thing that I gotta eat. Taste wise, it was a solid pretty good. It looked really shitty, but it was definitely above a cafeteria burger.
That's what I was worried about.
Was like also from that like metric, it was well below a shitty burger that you can get at Round One, which is a Japanese arcade / bowling alley. But again, that could also just be the environment that you're around. 'Cause, like, I fucking love those burgers and they're awful, but like. It might just be because I'm happy and like can play Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm while drinking a very large Kirin Ichiban. Ketchup really elevates it. I don't really remember what that means. I guess I put ketchup on it and tasted much better. It might even be required. Would be better with a beer or a soda. So I guess this night I only had water, which it's more my fault. The tomato was unnecessary. One of those burgers that was too tall to get like a good,
a bite out of it.
Yeah. The bacon is solid. Not sure if there are any onions, which there should be. And then as I was typing that, I said, might be tasting an onion right now, though. So that is my review of the Wawa burger. I think I went back and got another one. And yeah, it's a solid like, oh, I don't feel like having a meatball sandwich or I don't feel like getting a hoagie. What can I get tonight? I'm burnt out on everything. I was fuck it. I'll get the... Although now they have tacos.
I saw that. I
will leave tacos for next season, but the more important side note is that I also ordered a side of fries from Wawa, and the fries are like a solid side that I have been just ordering in and of themselves when I'm at a Wawa just because they're really good. The only thing is the portion size of those is way too small, but the seasoning is really, really solid.
I've never had those either. The thing is like, there's something about like burgers and fries specifically that only a place that specializes in burgers and fries can do them right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I see Wawa. Honestly, they're like, I love Wawa, but I'm like, you're not a burger and fry place. That's not what you do.
Honestly, not the worst though. I recommend trying it. Maybe not get the double cheeseburger. Just go with the regular one. Definitely get the bacon. And yeah, it's not the worst.
All right.
It's pretty
What
good.
would you give it out of 5?
I would give it. I'll be generous. I'll say 3 out of 3
Okay.
game paddles out of 5.
All right. I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The fries though, it's solid 4 to 4.5. Mainly just because it's
Really?
nice to have a different side. They're not like the best fries in the world, but like the convenience of them at a Wawa.
Oh,
very
okay,
good.
fair enough.
How about you, Alex? What did you think of the burger?
I thought it was all right.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The bun was good.
Oh yeah, the bun was pretty good.
Was it? That was the other thing I was wondering about, because like that's another thing that I feel like only a burger place can do right is a bun. Like a bun, you know what I mean? A good bun is a good bun. So I was curious about that.
It tasted like a bar above like a normal cheap bun I'd get at like,
Really?
I don't know.
Like a grocery store or something, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't write any notes about the bun, so it was perfectly acceptable. Because if it was bad,
It
I
disappeared
would have
into the
written
burger.
about it. And if it was the best thing ever, I would have probably mentioned that. So.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Indiscriminate bun.
Indescribable.
bun.
Yeah, indescribable. Yeah.
That's it.
Both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it for Dirge of Cerberus for me.
Well, what do you want to talk
playing
about next?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're done.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
Thanks so
All
much.
right, yeah.
Big shout outs to Nobi Boy.
Yo, actually, can we do a giant shout out right now?
Yes, please.
Yes,
please.
let us shout out. I'm going to say friend of the podcast, Shadimp, for teaching us how to play this game. And like,
I would like to think he is a friend of the pod.
I would like to think so.
And also Dynamite Dan. Why not?
And Dynamite Dan. Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. Like,
Solid
He
homies.
just posted a speedrunning guide for this game. If you feel
there's
like
a speedrunning guide in our Discord right now. Come read it.
Yeah.
yeah,
We might be doing
Mm.
like a community, everyone learn this game and speedrun it and see who gets a good time, like a friendly competition
Yeah.
thing. Like just don't even have to speedrun it, just see how fast you can get to credits, knowing what you know about the speedrun.
Yeah.
You don't have to grind it. And we'll, just compare because that's fun.
I feel like it's been nice because there's not the most information about this game online. And having multiple people who like really know this game in and out kind of like hop in the Discord and like interact with us has been like
It's been
amazing.
indescribable.
I know, like
actually indescribable how like lucky we are to have that.
yeah, that's incredibly fortunate. So much appreciation to you all for that.
Yeah.
and I'm also just happy that this podcast led
Yeah.
to other discoveries and undiscovered content in this game. too, so-
Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
Adding to the knowledge base of video games total. That's incredible.
Yeah,
That's
video
amazing.
game preservation too, because
We're doing it.
as we've said, like this season with the mobile games and stuff, there's no way to experience them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
maybe there will be someday, hopefully.
I do hope the Lost Chapter somehow gets like ripped
Yeah.
and like emulated somewhere because
Yeah,
apparently you do need like an online connection to play some parts of it and things
Okay.
like that.
yeah, hopefully.
You can watch it on YouTube though with crummy like resolution because there's no way to video capture a
You can't
flip
upscale that
screen.
bad boy to 4K.
So I guess it's time to take a break again. Everyone's least favorite part, but you know what? It's a little necessary, I feel like, for us to just like take a couple weeks off to chill.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna read down the Dirge of Cerberus Metacritic page. Terrible, overblown, opportunistic nonsense.
Opportunistic, huh?
Dirge is an ugly, cynical, tiresome video game,
Ooh.
the likes of which the next video game generation will hopefully eradicate. That's Games TM.
Oh, I got bad news for Games TM.
Yeah, sorry, Games TM. It's back and it's better than ever, baby.
It's back, and we found more information about it. We've actually like done the opposite of eliminate it.
And all the information we found points out that it is good, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, Metacritic is pretty. It has a 57 based on 51 critic reviews, which isn't really surprising. I mean, sure,
All right, everyone,
yes.
I know I've joked a lot and said you need to give us 5-star reviews. Take all of that energy, throw it out the fucking window, and instead go to Metacritic and upvote fucking Dirge of Cerberus. Leave glowing reviews.
For a second there,
I stayed away from the user reviews because that just like doesn't seem like.
Seems like Gamergate hell.
I was gonna say, is there an individual I was gonna say gamer score? Is there a rating for non-critics on there?
User score is a 7.9.
7.0. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, there you
so-
go. Yeah,
so-
yeah. It is a game for the masses.
This game is one of the best Final Fantasy games I've ever played, says ERB.
I feel
Like
like
I've played. I've
D's Nuts Destiny gives it a 10.
D's Nuts Destiny
that's
base.
probably one of our listeners.
Shout out
let's be
to
real.
new fan of the new friend of the podcast, D's Nuts Destiny.
Some guy gives it a 2. It says perhaps the single worst example of cutscene and gameplay segregation in history.
What?
Vincent in cutscenes can jump 6 stories and take down an attack helicopter without needing to reload. Vincent in game plinks away at foot soldiers and needs key cards. I mean, we already talked about all this.
that's a fair like assessment to make of the game, but I don't think that makes it worth it too. I mean, again, this person could have been 13 while writing it, like, you know.
It's true. A lot of these are pretty bad. The highest rating is Ace Games. This game should not disappoint fans. It's different for sure, but it's also an excellent, well-executed shooter, which retains the elements of FF we all love. The complex plot, upgrades, EXP, and even a chance to discuss chocobos if you find just the right girl to chat with.
It's the girl reading this.
Well, if I was going to give this a score, right? If I was going to review this, I would say that it has enough of some things but lacks in other things. And I think it has enough guns, but doesn't have enough blades. And you have to have a good mix of guns and blades. You know, you gotta put them together.
There were some blade guns.
There were some blade guns.
Blade guns, unquestionably cool. But
there were hints of train.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, I
guess
there were hints of trains. That's true. But I think for a better game, you would need. You
know, so an interesting thing: the cell phones. Noticeably, a lot of cell phones in this game. It was the style at the time. I noticed that there was no camera, not a front-facing camera, so there were no selfies in this game.
There weren't any,
which is kind of disappointing. I like it when there's a Final Fantasy game that has a selfie in it.
Yeah, I don't think Shell took that picture herself for the call screen on Vincent's phone, so I don't think it counts as a selfie.
Exactly.
But I think for our next game, we should play a game where the main character wields a gunblade. And B, at least for the beginning of it, trains play a big part.
And what about... I'm just going to swing for the fences here. What if the main character's name had something to do with the
weather, like a weather event?
Perhaps?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
You've guessed it, folks. Curtis, tell them what we're playing next time.
Final Fantasy 2. No, we're not playing Final Fantasy 2. We're going to play underrated game. Too often underrated. But I think incorrectly so. So I'm excited to do a whole season.
Much like the makers of this game we just played. They immediately went on to work on this game. It's the same team, actually.
Is it really?
Ooh, interesting.
Oh, wow.
Just hold on. Dirge of Cerberus and Redacted.
But anyway, you know what game has gun blades? I made a character with a gun blade and a long train segment. That's right. Final Fantasy 13, baby! The misdirection!
We're doing 13!
The misdirection!
Hell yeah. The theme song for next
It's more like a gun
season?
Butterfly knife, I guess.
Alex,
it's like a big butterfly knife.
I got the perfect song for next season for the intro. It's just going to be me crooning on an acoustic guitar doing a cover of the song Lightning Crashes.
Ooh,
oh, nice.
Lightning crashes.
Lightning crashes. Mother dies.
I've never played 13. I'm very excited to.
Have you not? Have you not? It's good.
It came out on Xbox 360, right?
Yes.
360 and then PS3.
That was a big deal too, right? It was the first non-Sony exclusive, like main series game for a while.
Yeah.
So I think
it's
at that
on
point,
Android. What the hell?
I was just playing.
Is it on Android? Because that means I can take screenshots.
But yeah, I don't think I had a 360 when we were playing this. I was just playing my older brothers.
Yeah.
Usually Halo co-op. So I never played it, but I'm excited to.
I think it's really good. I think that okay, I'll give this away about it. So we just did 10 relatively recently, like a year ago or so, right? And you remember how 10 was very linear? Like it was just like walking down a hallway to the end of the game for the most part until the end. 13 is also that way. It's nice. Another version of that. It's a lot louder and a lot faster. If FF10 is like a folk music festival, this is like a death metal festival. It's going to be like, it's in your face the whole time. So like those like soft, genuine moments between like Titus and Yuna or whatever, like that's not in 13. 13 is just fucking balls to the fucking wall. Like most of the time.
I've started playing it. I forgot, just like it graphically holds up very well.
It looks great.
It's a gorgeous looking game, and then I also just love kind of the aesthetic of this era where everything was very like kind of high fantasy with cyberpunk kind of injected into it.
Yeah.
And I forget the guy who worked on 10 and 12. I forget the name. Isamu Kamikokuro. He worked on 10 for a lot of the like world design of like a lot of the city designs in 10.
Yeah.
And like this is the one where I think 12 and this one were like the big ones where he kind of let his kind of style shine.
I think a big part of us going through 13, or at least for me, is going to be comparing it to 10. Because I think those games share a lot in common. They're very different. It's almost like if I gave you the skeleton of a game to two different people, and we're just like, make this game, right? And so like
skeletons are pretty fucking cool,
and skeletons are rad.
From what I know about it, does seem almost like a reaction to like maybe after 12 came out, and like, okay, let's try to capture the magic of 10 again. Just kind of like a lot of the stuff. Like there's romance, there's like religious metaphors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. There is a lore to 13 that is so fucking deep and unnecessary. It's great. Okay, here's the one. This is one of the things I want to say now while we're in this season still and we haven't started 13, because I'm going to do this. I highly suggest you both do this too, because this is where we're going to get a lot of our talking points from. 13 is a game that brings in the idea of having a, what do you call it? Like a glossary, right? Like there's an in-menu glossary where you can read about the enemies, you can read about the areas, you can read about the chapters. I highly encourage you to actually read all of that every time. Like get to the end of where you're playing for the day or for the podcast, stop, and then read all the glossary inputs, because they're fucking wild. Because like, and you know, for listeners who don't know this, the like catalyst for everything that goes wrong in the universe of FF13 is never mentioned in the game and never shown ever. like it's
Hojo.
Just not a part of it. Like it's incredible. So like enjoy
like
that.
Deep Ground.
They do throw a lot of vocabulary at you that you're just supposed to know. It's not like Titus, who's kind of like supposed to kind of learn about the world. Everyone in the
There's
world,
no analog for us. Yeah.
Everyone in the world already knows what's happening, and you kind of have to kind of figure it out real fast.
LC, Falc, we'll see.
Cocoon, Pulse.
Yeah, it's a lot of words. That first episode is gonna be text heavy.
A chonky one.
A chonky one. But I am so excited to go through FF13 with y'all.
I'm gonna get my. I'm gonna go look on eBay for the Louis Vuitton series that they did.
Oh
with
yeah, they get real nutty with it.
We're gonna open a Patreon just for this episode to buy us the Louis Vuitton tie-in stuff, and then we'll close it.
Is that still available, I wonder?
Almost certainly not.
Maybe on like Xbox 360. I feel like that shit is just...
Lightning looks like Haley Williams in this.
Oh wow, yeah.
Actually, the pink leather jacket's sick as fuck.
She is in the business of misery, I've heard.
Yeah. Okay, that's another thing too, is that like, I'm pretty sure, before going into 13 again, that Lightning is one of my favorite main characters, because she's a cool brooding protagonist with a sword. She's the most of that, right? Because like,
I'm so excited.
Because people look at Cloud as being like a little dark and brooding, and then they like ramped it up for Squall to be dark and brooding, and then you have like some time without that, right? And then for 13, they were just like, how far down that fucking rabbit hole? Like, what if it was like Vincent plus? Like,
yes,
what if
dude,
Vincent smiled even less and was just way more standoffish than like, that's Lightning, and she fucking rules.
I bet misogyny has a deal to do with maybe why this is so polarizing. Like it's not as cool when a woman.
That's what I was
it.
thinking too. Yeah.
Oh no! First, if anybody thinks that or thot that, they are wrong. It's way more cool. But
yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, thank God there can finally be a brooding, not like cis het male
dude,
guy.
it's so great because she's also like a bastard, like as we like see as we go through the game, because like, you know, Squall's dark and brooding, but you're like, well, at least he has like good or neutral intentions toward everybody. And then like we play as Lightning, we're like, oh, she is an asshole. I love her, she's great. Just solve all problems through violence, always choose violence.
Well, I'm excited.
I'm excited too. So FF13. I think it's funny because like, actually this episode's coming out this Friday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So that means I can start playing it on stream and whatnot relatively soon.
Same here. Maybe I'll do my first playthrough on stream.
Go fave it on Steam and Humble Bundle, because Square has sales all the fucking time.
If you plan on playing along with us, I'll just go ahead and give you a quick heads up. I think the first episode is going to be a lot of like history on the game, and we'll probably go up to like the first save point. So not real far into the game. Like it's only like a minute or two of actual playing, but there will be enough to talk about because we'll go over some of the battle system and whatnot. So it'll just be the intro of the game, I think.
Save system's back, baby.
Save system's
points are
back.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the same composer again. The music in this game rules.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
really
music, Blinded by Light, maybe the best battle theme in Final Fantasy.
So good.
It's one of the ones where like it's so long and like because it's just like starts as normal battle theme and then once you're a minute in, it like drops into that violin thing.
The violin part is just every time it happens, I'm like, ooh.
It makes me want the battles to go longer.
I know. It makes you want to fight longer because it's so good. It's incredible. Like it's up there with like it's like vying for top position is Man with a Machine Gun and Blinded by Light is like the two best battle
Okay,
themes.
this game's only $16 in the Humble Store, so yeah, there's no reason not to play it.
Yeah, to play it along with us, we're gonna do FF13. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us during Dirge of Cerberus. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry if you were hoping for a different game.
Some other game
We'll
with
get to it
gun blades
eventually.
and trains.
We are contractually obligated to get to it someday.
That's right. And thank you guys for hanging out with me, Alex and Carl.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you, Curtis.
Obviously, Alex has been putting in a shitload of work.
Yeah, thank Alex
this time,
more
like-
than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there. Speaking of 13, there was no script for it, so I've been transcribing it myself.
I love it. Like
Unbelievable.
I think
king shit.
I'm like creating automation like programs and shit to like do OCR on like
The biggest Chad.
20,000 screenshots of the like a playthrough.
I think it's amazing that like before we started this podcast, right? Like the original idea of the podcast, right? We have like, okay, me and Carl talking to each other.
I'm sorry I hijacked your podcast.
No,
buddy.
it's great. No, it's
No,
great.
thank
I was
you.
gonna
Jesus
say
Christ.
the amazing thing about it is that like we were like, okay, and Alex doesn't really like hasn't played any of the Final Fantasies, and now not only have you played several, you've actually added to the total knowledge of the world base of like there are people who like love these games, have played every single one of them and are obsessed about them, and you have done like infinitely more than any of us will ever do for the world of it, which is incredible. It's great. It's amazing, and I think it's amazing. I think sometimes that like when our friend of the show Shadimp will post in the chat that they're learning more about Dirge of Cerberus through our podcast. I think that's insane. That is insane that like we've been able to add to the greater knowledge of these games. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I recommend everyone to go to thelifestream.net and hop in the Dirge of Cerberus FF7 research thread because there's some gold gets posted there. I think a few threads were posted on behalf of us, probably because we were talking about like the Fiat colors and stuff.
Yeah.
And Shadem did the research on the naming conventions. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a fun game to play that like nobody seems to have
Yeah.
played.
Yeah.
Yeah, and worth playing. So
Well,
hopefully more people kind of play it after this.
If you find a cheap used copy, go for it.
I have nothing else to say about any of that. How about y'all?
Sorry, Gacked.
Anything else you want to say before we leave?
No.
Nah, I might go and get another Wawa.
I'm thinking about it.
Burger. Like
I'm thinking about it. I guess we usually take like a month off or something like that, a month or two.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
I'd say well a
Catch us
soft
on our
month, a
Twitter and
tentative-
stuff.
Yeah, tentative.
Once
month.
I've figured out, album art,
Album art, right? Yeah.
I may just do the Sharpie thing where like that viral picture of a used copy of Final Fantasy 13. This is like too much.
It's just the cover for that season of the podcast. It's just that.
For my girl in my world, love from Jamie. XXX.
We got to get that person on the pod.
I hope Jamie's doing okay.
I hope James all right.
I hope someone bought that copy of Final Fantasy 13.
God,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
feel
it
like
has
that-
to be somewhere, right?
that, like,
someone
I mean,
has to
fuck.
have it.
That's essentially just like an internet relic now. So
It's out there,
yeah, but
like the proto-materia.
it shows up exactly when you need it to. Yeah, Alex, do you want to run us through a nightmare sphincter?
God, it's been so long. This is a long episode.
Yeah.
Thank you to Masashi Uzi for the game music. Leave us a review on iTunes. Rate us on Spotify. It's end of season, so I mean, all this stuff will help. But
Yeah, I mean, we'll be wanting, more visibility when we start a new season, a new game, and all of that. Maybe this season we'll remember to introduce ourselves as if new people are listening, which they probably will be.
Yeah.
yeah, you can leave us a message or text us at 530-MATERIA. You can find us at EveryFNFF on Twitter, Instagram. And any of those sites, you can find our linked tree. I think it is. Is it Linktree? Yeah. Linktree, you can find our Redbubble, which we have some cool merch up there from past seasons. I've been trying to think of fun things to do for this season.
We got to do the Joy Division one.
Yes.
That's right. But yeah, you can also hop in our Discord from a link in there as well. And Omega and Chaos have returned to the planet. Thank you. It was you. You were the reason I podcasted.
Goodbye.
Not that I mind, though.
Yeah.
See you in Cocoon.
See you on Cocoon.
I knew I shouldn't have had eggs for breakfast.